Chapter 55:27. As soon as the sword came out, the entire space was instantly flattened, and all matter was dying. That was dying from the depths of life. Anyone who touches it will die. Tai-sen looked at the sword in a daze and said, "How could this be? How can he be so strong?" But now he didn't give him time to shock at all, so he could only forcefully stop him. Void. A huge Dharma image rose up, and Tai-sen also began to kill his life. As soon as he pointed it out, he gathered a little bit, and no matter what, he would break the sword. The power contained in the sword made him tremble. If he is not cautious, he will really fall into Jian Wushuang's hands today. Broken, the huge finger shadow and Jueyun sword collided with each other. This bed on Xingxin's finger, but just touched the Jueyun sword. It began to break. Desperate, at the moment it was extinguished, Tai-san's face began to be distorted. Not only the physical body, but also the divine body and origin lost their original shape, continuously distorted, and finally dissipated. Tai-sen completely turned to ashes and has fallen. Jian Wushuang slowly opened his eyes, and the black hole was already shrinking. It originally covered the entire continent, but now that the continent has disappeared, the black hole has become very small. He really killed a sixth-order peak emperor, although most of the reasons were because of the 10% destruction, and Wu's was secret help. The opponent was actually dead in his hands. After picking up the other party's mustard seeds, he took Gong Miaoyi and left the black hole. The black hole also completely turned into a point in the next moment, and then began to be restored by the space, and everything was restored to peace. In the air, there was still a mustard seed floating at this time, which was tearing the sky. Wu Zui didn't personally give him the beast magic weapon, because the plan was very important, and he couldn't tell anyone, even Gong Miaoyi couldn't say it. Jian Wushuang was a little excited about this, and put it away directly. As for Wu Zui, he is still trapped in a black hole. An extremely secret transmission sounded in Jian Wushuang's mind. The time of 3 breaths is an order. After 3 breaths, I will break through the black hole and go out. At that time, you must take my blow. After being seriously injured, go directly into the teleportation formation and leave, and everything will proceed according to the planned route. The voice came from Wu Zui, and Jian Wushuang did not answer, pulling Gong Miaoyi towards the central hall. The monarchs who were onlookers or the powerhouses of the Elder Palace looked at him, and no one tried to stop him, because Triathlon is dead. With such a big movement, even the Taoist Qing Niu, who was in retreat, was awakened, but he did not appear. Diju and Lu Hua frowned, and he was already suspicious of what he was doing now. Jian Wushuang was robbed by him, and now he has killed Tai-san, and is about to flee. I am afraid that I will be held accountable in the future. Those inheritors shouted in applause, not only did not stop them, but even gave way to Jian Wushuang. On the Mayan mountain, the Mayan god will stand side by side with Yun Zhongjuan staring at all this. How to say? Mayan Shen turned his head to look at Yun Zhongjuan and said in doubt, "What are you talking about?" Just like that, let him run away? Yun Zhongjuan pointed to Jian Wushuang. If not, the Senate Palace has nothing to do with the two of them. That is because of the true spirit. It came here. They will not take care of internal struggles unless they are involved in the competition. And he is the kind of super strong with unclean details. That Zhu Jian, who was dragged by Deputy Hall Master Zhong, was because the details were not clear. The magic sound god general would do it. Of course, a large part of the reason was to rescue Jian Wushuang. If he really wants to stop Jian Wushuang, he will have to go back then. After all, releasing Jian Wushuang has something to do with the magic sound general. Jun Yunzhong smashed his mouth and said leisurely, "Forget it. It's just like watching a good show. This Jian Wushuang's character. I have misunderstood. This kind of thing can be done. There is mind back, then demeanor." As he said, his figure disappeared. The magic sound general was a little disdainful. At the beginning, Yun Zhongjuan didn't have the courage to pursue Emperor Julian with a cheeky face. He was severely injured by the slap of the great Julian, and the divine body was cracked. Countless people stared at Jian Wushuang. It's time for 3 breaths. A huge centipede, tearing through the world, rushed out of the name of the black hole. Wu Zuo was dressed in a pale yellow robe, standing on top of the centipede's head. At this moment, he was full of anger. A pair of purple eyes exuded the power of thunder, and a thunder of 10,000 battles burst out and went straight to Jian Wushuang. The crowd who had originally watched backed away again. But Wu's was shot. Even if it is affected, I am afraid it will fall. It's over. Jian Wushuang is really offending Wu Zuo. Many people retreated quickly. The purple thunder came behind Jian Wushuang in an instant. Jian Wushuang was also prepared long ago, and he was really going to be recruited. He had to fall. This is also a bitter trick. Of course, it won't really go hard. He took out a white jade ball and threw it back. The jade ball turned frantically, and then burst out a scorching light that swept the earth in an instant. Although it blocked most of the power of purple thunder, some tiny electric snakes rushed to Jian Wushuang's side. Just when he was about to touch the electric snake, Jian Wushuang pulled Gong Miaoyi over, stopped her behind, and took the initiative to withstand the blow. What? The huge inertia caused Jian Wushuang to release Gong Miaoyi's hand, and the whole person flew out directly. A cloud of golden blood spurted out, and Jian Wushuang only felt that the entire source was trapped by the electric snake. This time it was not just a simple serious injury. If it is a simple injury, he can directly recover, and he has a powerful life source that can recover instantly. But after the electric snake entered his body, it entered his origin, and it would take 100 years at the fastest to disperse it. This time, he exerted great perseverance. At the same time, in order to ensure safety, he also has a lot of back players. If Gong Miaoyi ran away by the time, he also had a quick way to rescue him. Wu Zuo had given him the antidote, but in order to test Gong Miaoyi, the eyeliner of the confused Shadow Zong cannot be easily used. Jian Wushuang clutched his chest, raised his head to see Gong Miaoyi flying over, and he breathed a sigh of relief in his heart. Not afraid of the other party running outside. Okanshu, Kam is afraid that the other party will run away now. Then lose your lord. He didn't have to run away, just let Wu Zuo kill him. Without Gong Miaoyi's support, his plan would be difficult to succeed. Gong Miaoyi is used to confuse the gods. It's up to the other party to be fooled. Go. This time Gong Miaoyi pulled him directly into the teleportation formation of the central hall. Qiu Huang didn't say much, just nodded for a moment, and then directly opened the big formation. Immediately before Wu Zuo descended, the two escaped smoothly. The Wu Zuo who arrived here was extremely angry. I can't tell at all that it's pretending. Chapter 55:28. Qiu Huang. Wu Zuo stared straight at the opponent and shouted angrily, "Come here, take him to jail." This situation occurred on his side, and a group of people from the law enforcement hall also came after hearing Wu Zuo's order. Several emperors immediately took action and directly suppressed Qiu Huang. "My lord, there is still a situation on the prison side." A law enforcement hall emperor said cautiously. Wu turned his head to look. His eyes could kill. When the law enforcement hall hears the order, all members of the law enforcement hall in the Northern Territory can be transmitted. Jian Wushuang must be captured. Whoever catches Jian Wushuang will reward 10,000 square cosmos crystals. As soon as this remark came out, everyone was moved. 10,000 square cosmic crystals. There are only 3 palace owners, and Wu Zhuo in the Palace of the Elders. You must know that Tai San controls Fu Shotang, and only after so many years has he harvested 30,000 square cosmic crystals. For the Sixth Order Emperor, 10,000 square cosmic crystals. That is a huge amount of wealth. For all the worth of a Sixth Order Emperor, there is no 10,000 square cosmic crystal. Only some special Sixth Order peak emperors have such strong financial resources. Not everyone is as lucky as Triathlon. There is a pro-elder brother who is the most powerful and one of the 3 palace masters of the Senate Palace. He himself even sat in the position of Fu Shotang's Hall Master. Otherwise, there would be no worth of 30,000 universe crystals. Although some inheritors were tempted, Jian Wushuang's strength was too strong, and they were not sure at all. At present, most of the inheritors are around the Fifth Order peak emperor. Most of the powerhouses who have achieved the Sixth Order emperor in such a short time will not be in the Palace of the Elders. Now, the first wave of inheritors is the Sixth Order emperor. The second wave is the Fifth Order emperor. And the third wave is the emperor who has just joined together successfully. In the Tomb Mountain, it is common for the Fourth Order emperor to succeed in Hadao. After the second-rank origin, Dao has successfully reached the ultimate harmony. He will directly become the Fourth Order emperor. This is no surprise. The weakest group is still Dao Jun. These Dao monarchs are actually able to get along quickly and even have a high success rate. However, with the lessons learned from the past, most Taoists want to go to Hadao after the origin of the Tao is consummated. Such a successful combination is the Fourth Order Emperor, who will soon be able to reach the Fifth Order Emperor. Sitting 5 and looking 6, you can even pursue the ultimate. With the support of Qishan Temple, they have no reason not to pursue the strongest. Those ultimate Dao monarchs, after seeing Hui Qing becoming emperor, are directly the Fifth Order peak emperor, and their combat power is comparable to the Sixth Order peak emperor, and even the ultimate Dao monarch has to go to completion, go to Hadao again. But the ultimate way, the more difficult it is to go to the back. Jian Wushuang was very touching about this point. His ultimate Dao was complete, but the ultimate Kendo was still the 8th level. There is also a large part of the reason because he has been slack in Kendo since he mastered Jidao. But at this point, after waiting for harmony, everything is returned to space, and this dilemma is gone. After Wu Zhuo made the announcement, the people dispersed. There are many people who are tempted, but there are probably not many who are qualified to catch Jian Wushuang. Some powerhouses in the Senate have this qualification. As for the Sixth Order emperors of the 4 great secret realms, most of them are not capable of this. Now, Jian Wushuang's combat power is comparable to Tier 6 tops. If you face those indigenous emperors, the Sixth Order peak can also fight. As for the super strong, these people dare not move easily. Can't listen to Wu Zhuo's side words. What if Master True Spirit wants to keep Jian Wushuang? This may also be true. Said to be chasing and killing, no one is going now. But the law enforcement hall in the north has been dispatched. After Wu Zhuo returned to the law enforcement hall, he began to send orders to the law enforcement hall powerhouses everywhere to intercept Jian Wushuang. Among the strongest dispatched, the weakest must also be the Sixth Order peak strong. Although there are many strong people in the law enforcement hall, there are only 10 strong people who have reached the peak of Tier 6. There are only 2 Deputy Hall Masters who can match the best. Deputy Hall Master Zhong. In Yuanyang Lake, there is also a Deputy Hall Master in the north. The strength of that Deputy Hall Master is not weaker than that of Deputy Hall Master Zhong. Wu Zhuo directly contacted the other party and was solely responsible for arresting Jian Wushuang. At this time, Deputy Hall Master Zhong also won Li Mi porridge and others. Inside the hall, the origin of Li Mi porridge has been restrained, and now it is no different from a cripple. identity, behind-the-scenes instructor, motive. Wu's voice was cold, but at the bottom of my heart, he was very puzzled. He was very clear about Lu Hua's tricks, and Wang Ken and others were also Lu Hua's confidants, and he knew this very well. However, this Li Mi porridge was able to conceal his own strength and even dared to go to jail. Who gave him so much courage? Li Maikong's heart was as gray as death. He fell into Wu's hand, and he was finished. Fortunately, he passed the news that Jian Wushuang had been sent out of the Senate Palace. Of course, this was all he had imagined. At this time, the gods were mobilizing the shadow sect powerhouses from the entire celestial realm to search for Jian Wushuang in the northern realm. How can I care about an abandoned child? Humph, it's useless if you kill me. Li Mi Kanji's mouth was very hard, and he said that he was going to die, so it's better not to say it, but still alive. Wu's was stood up and said gloomily, "You think I can't help it unless I say it? If so, then they really underestimate their Senate Palace. Without any means, how could he pull out the shadow sect in the north so clean? Fork out and send it to the criminal department to let them interrogate. If you can't come out, you don't want him to be comfortable, or I will make you uncomfortable." Wu's was furious and frightened everyone. Even Deputy Hall Master Zhong couldn't help but tremble. "Wuzwa, what caused you to make such a big fire?" A voice came from outside the hall, and then a wealthy man walked in. It was Emperor Lu Hua, who was watching the joke. Wang Can and the others, he had already sent him away, and it is estimated that they are all in the realm now, and the old man's palace does not have that long hand to intervene in the affairs of the realm, let alone the law enforcement hall. The White Tiger Palace in the heavens alone crushed the law enforcement hall to death, and did not give them a chance to cross the boundary at all. Unless it was Wuzwa who went to catch him personally, he couldn't catch it at all. Without a handle, he is naturally not afraid. Because of this little thing, Zhanling will definitely not blame it. Not to mention that a hall master has fallen. Even if the palace owner has fallen, the true spirit will not frown. This is the pattern. Different patterns have different perspectives. The true spirit cares more about those inheritors, not those old guys who are lingering. In Lu Hua's view, this matter has reached this point. There is no problem. Isn't it that a sixth-order emperor has fallen? Need this? After Jian Wushuang escaped from the north, what else could Wuzwa do? Bai Hudian, looking at the jokes happily, wouldn't care about this kind of thing. Maybe Bai Hudian turned his head and went to find Jian Wushuang and wooed him to join Bai Hudian. End of this chapter. Chapter 55-29. Who would take care of Wuzwa? Wuzwa saw the incoming person, his complexion recovered a bit, and then sat down on his own and said coldly, "What are you doing here, watching me make a joke?" "Then dare to look at your jokes. It's just based on the brotherhood of so many years. I remind you, don't offend people who shouldn't offend for some cats and dogs." Lu Wadajun's words really came out of goodwill. At the same time, he was also buying time for Jian Wushuang. But as soon as the sentence came out, some people in the hall looked a little unsightly, especially Deputy Hall Master Zhong. He was very unwilling, but the other party was the palace master. He could not refute, only clenched his fists. Some weak veterans will not say much. They are already weak and have little room for improvement, so they really didn't say anything wrong. It will not take long for the inheritors to replace them. Nowadays, most of the inheritors have entered the emperor, and if they have enough hands, the true spirit is more willing to use those inheritors. It's just that now is a period of radical cultivation, and they are all struggling for strength. Once they stagnate, they will come to the Senate Palace or the White Tiger Palace or the Azure Dragon Palace to take on important positions. Regarding this point, Emperor Lu Hua is very open, and the future will be the world of inheritors, especially the strongest inheritors. It is unwise to offend these people. Even if Wuzhua used to be a disciple of Qixin, that was before. He was embarrassed to attack Wuzhua. Others didn't know. He knew that Wuzhua had been removed by the true spirit. Apart from his strength, Wuzhua had no one. Anything compared to the inheritor. If you talk about potential, Wuzhua was like this in the ancient times. After living for so many years, now that he has recovered his peak strength, it is not much different from the past. I guess that's it for the rest of my life. That being the case, why don't you let it go and improve your own situation? What you said is so easy. Wuzhua sneered. Jian Wushuang escaped from jail, and it's all on you. Not only did you dare to plot against me, but also killed my beloved brother Tai San. There is no end to this. Lu Hua sighed. That's how you are. He disappeared after speaking. Wuzhua didn't sneer from the bottom of his heart, and secretly said, Look, who of us has the last laugh? Except for the person in charge. The others followed Deputy Hall Master Zhong to go to the north to capture Jian Wushuang. Even if you dig 3 feet in the ground and spend 9 days to catch the moon, you have to catch someone for me. Deputy Hall Master Zhong. That's what he was waiting for. Palace Master Lu Hua's words made him very upset. He wanted to catch Jian Wushuang to see how Jian Wushuang was better than them. Yes, after receiving the order, everyone didn't stay longer and went straight to the central hall. Qiu Huang let Jian Wushuang go and was taken away, so naturally there were others in charge. After everything was arranged, Wuzhua was left in the hall. With no outsiders, Wuzhua was finally relieved. Sitting on the throne, began to figure out how to explain to the true spirit. He hadn't told the true spirit about the origin of all things. He was afraid that the true spirit would suddenly attack the dome in the origin of all things, and then the plan would be ruined, and the position of the palace lord would also leave him. After thinking for a long time, Wuzhua set off directly to the Sea of Universe. Grown-ups. Wuzhua stood respectfully outside the pavilion. After Zhenling glanced at him, he calmly said, The plan has begun? Very smoothly, Jian Wushuang has already reached the northern border. I believe it will not be long before someone will be hooked. Wuzhua replied. Zhenling nodded and said, Yes, this time the plan is successful, and the Yuan Lao Palace is yours. I removed your name at the beginning, and you must have scolded me from the bottom of your heart. In fact, the Palace of the Elders was meant to be passed on to you, but you have no great credit and no influence, and it is not good to rush into position. After hearing these words, Wuzhua knelt down and said in fear, The subordinates dare not. All these are being tested by adults. I thank you for not having time. Hee, you can talk. Zhenling smiled. There is nothing to do, just go down. There are some things you have to follow up personally. There can be no mistakes. Wuzhua firmly said, Yes, the whole palace of the elders. This joy made him instantly forget what he was going to do. The dome in the origin of everything. Wuzhua swallowed and smeared. I haven't had any trouble for so many years, so there shouldn't be any trouble on this joint. Originally planned to tell the true spirit of this matter, and then talk about the situation and the overall situation at the moment. But now Wuzhua, who has stunned his head with joy, intends to conceal this matter first. After he has captured Fuego, he will tell the true spirit. It will be double happiness. If you say it now, not only will it affect the plan, maybe the real spirit will blame him for not saying it in advance. The palace of the elders, which was about to fall, is gone. Zhenling also saw that Wuzhua seemed to have something on his mind, but he didn't point it out. In his opinion, Wuzhua's pattern is so big, it is probably not a big deal, so he didn't ask much. Wuzhua left the Sea of Cosmos with joy. Then there was a shocking news. Jian Wushuang rebelled and deprived the inheritor of his identity. Others don't know, but the gods who are paying attention to all this know that Wu Zhuo has gone to the Sea of Cosmos to ask the true spirit. After seeing the true spirit, he announced the news, which also meant that the true spirit gave up Jian Wushuang. For a time, countless people shocked, deprived of the identity of the inheritor, that Jian Wushuang might be over in this life. Unless you become the Lord of the universe, you will always be hunted down. Under the chasing of countless powerful men, Jian Wushuang, even if he was extremely talented, would be good to be able to stay in harmony with him. To become the Lord of the universe is simply a dream. After this order was issued, the entire northern border was in chaos. Countless people went to find Jian Wushuang. The native emperors who were hesitant in the past are now completely relieved and ready to do a big job. Many Sixth-Order peak emperors have already been dispatched. Even the Sixth-Order emperors from the other halls in the Palace of the Elders were dispatched. All rushed to Jian Wushuang. 10,000 square cosmic crystals. Who is not tempted? The most powerful people have a lot of heartbeats. In the Palace of the Elders was a commotion. Tomb God Mountain was in shock. Jian Wushuang was the first inheritor to be looted by the strong before he finished his trial. Now he is the first inheritor deprived of his identity. There is nothing to do with good things. The only major event that showed his face was the rush to the North Tower, but it hadn't been a few days. The news spread quickly, and it only took a month to make the city full of storms. At this time, Jian Wushuang was also caught in a rainy night city, the northern border Giant Gate City. It does not belong to any state, but is managed by an independent supercity. End of this chapter. Chapter 55:30, because in this city there is a Sixth-Order peak emperor. Moreover, this emperor has something to do with the Yuan Lao Palace. Speaking of it, Jian Wushuang had seen this city lord not long ago. He was still in the North Tower. He was still the pride of the sky. And the opponent was just an ordinary Sixth-Order emperor. The native monarchs of the four great secret realms are the ants who are inexhaustible, let alone the inheritors. Even the veterans of the Senate Palace look down on these people. But Jian Wushuang had no identity anymore, just like a dog who lost his family. Not even an aboriginal emperor can match. Inside the dilapidated courtyard, Jian Wushuang is now wearing a sackcloth, and Gong Miaoi has a new look and a lean woman with short hair. I need time. Jian Wushuang coughed a few times before continuing. I trouble you these days. Gong Miaoi squatted on the side of the threshold, looking lazy, but his mental energy had been concentrated in the outside world, always on guard. After hearing Jian Wushuang's words, she was in a daze. I don't know if it is good or bad to escape with Jian Wushuang, but the moment she went out with Jian Wushuang, she was relieved like never before. Especially Jian Wushuang told her that her father was in the mine, and even the name and portrait were drawn for him. Jian Wushuang did have several bonds with Nie Yuan at the beginning, and he noted down the other's appearance. He knew that the only way to hang Gong Miaoi was Nie Yuan, not only drew the face of the other party, but also made up a story by the way. He had only said a few words to Nie Yuan. At that time, the identity of the other party was very embarrassing. Although he admired in his heart, he did not have deep friendship or even gnawed friends. But it doesn't prevent him from making a story that is so heroic and bold. Gong Miaoi listened very carefully and was fascinated. Even before she knew it, she also told her mother's life experience. In this way, Jian Wushuang was even more certain. Nie Yuan was the one who ended up in the end because of a woman. Back then, Nie Yuan asked him whether there was a means to reverse time and space on the Tomb God Mountain. I'm afraid that the other party thought that Gong Miaoi and her mother had fallen, and they would have this idea. Later, he was busy escaping for his life, and never saw him again. Later, He asked someone to inquire about it, only to know that Nie Yuan was caught in the mine by the strong man of Fu Shotang because of a small matter. Jian Wushuang told Gong Miaoi about this very exaggeratedly. Fu Shotang. Gong Miaoi's expression sank. She also almost became a Taoist companion to the chief of Fu Shotang. Fortunately, she and Jian Wushuang were sentenced together. It's not far from the mine. If you don't use the teleportation array, I can take you to the mine within 100 years. Jian Wushuang said this very sincerely because he really wants to go to the mine. Not only was it to copy the kendo in Nie Yuan's body, it was more important to let the gods know that he cared about Gong Miaoi very much. And it was because he cared about Gong Miaoi that he was sentenced to Yuan Lao Gong. Once the other party believes it, someone will be arranged to rescue him. When the time comes, follow the vine. As long as the other party still needs his source of everything, he will definitely let him go to see Fuego when the true spirit comes to the world. Everything will be complete. It's just too simple. Now, the gods are observing everything, not only did not come to rescue him, but also told the emperors and powerful men who came to chase him where he was. Associate Hall Master Zhong, there is news from Bobby that Jian Wushuang's hiding place has been found, and he is currently in Juman City. The Deputy Hall Master of the Law Enforcement Hall has already arrived in the north and has been searching for news. After hearing about the Giant Gate City, his face became cold, and he said, "This thief probably has planned for a long time. I didn't know that it was destroyed by the thief before, and the people in the Central Hall have not repaired it. I am afraid it is related to Jian Wushuang." Hall Master, do you want to inform Wu Shan's Deputy Hall Master to cooperate with the arrest? No, we people are enough to deal with him. Let's set off now. Deputy Hall Master Zhong was very excited, and then he glanced at these people. Since there have been many traitors in the Yuan Palace, he feels that his team is not good. Dare to trust it all. Everyone, hand over all the communication tokens. You can't tell anyone about this matter, and you can also inform Barbie. I don't allow them to move. I can't do without them for 10,000 square cosmic crystals. Yes, but Deputy Hall Master Zhong, who counts as much as possible, can't be counted. His immediate boss, Wu Zua, is the biggest gangster. As soon as he left, Jian Wushuang received the news. At this time, while clearing the purple thunder from the source, he was talking about Nie Yuan with Gong Miaoi. After receiving the news, the corners of his mouth couldn't help but lift it up. It will take at least a year for Deputy Hall Master Zhong to arrive, so he doesn't rush away. For safety's sake, we will leave before the other party arrives. Gong Miaoi changed his normal at this time and said, "Jian Wushuang, this time, are you really doing it for me?" Looking at the other person's eyes, Jian Wushuang knew the answer she wanted. Did not say much, just nodded. According to his experience, it is useless to say more than a sincere look. Actually, I have paid attention to your father's affairs a long time ago. Since you told me, I asked Senior Chiu Huang to help me find the trace of Uncle Nie Yuan. Now I have finally found it. I will see you in 100 years. Jian Wushuang leaked a smile and looked at Gong Miaoi. Gong Miaoi stared at Jian Wushuang. Her rare xingyan said like a flower, "Then you are not afraid of having an ambush on the mine side." Now wanted in the whole territory, he will definitely investigate Jian Wushuang's motives and previous premeditated plans. It would also be speculated that Jian Wushuang would go to the mine. I am afraid that a net of heaven and earth had already been laid there at this time. What's so scary about? Have you ever seen me afraid? Jian Wushuang said indifferently. Along the way, I have not been afraid from my home universe to this mysterious temple of the gods. Gong Miaoi curiously asked, "Then have you ever been afraid?" After Jian Wushuang finished speaking, he seemed to have thought of something again. He looked at Gong Miaoi and said with affection, "Once, there was a difficult choice once I was afraid of, but now I am not afraid." Gong Miaoi stared at Jian Wushuang with flashing eyes, waiting for Jian Wushuang's answer. "I'm afraid you won't follow me." Jian Wushuang's voice was a little low, and his complexion became ruddy. He hasn't said such nasty words for a long time. Gong Miaoi wasn't embarrassed at all about this. She didn't hear it, and she turned her head and stopped looking at Jian Wushuang. "It seems that I have the answer in my heart." Mind also turned to the mine, where there is her father. And outside the mine at this time, one of the two deputy masters of the law enforcement hall, Deputy Hall Master Wushan, is here. Following him, there are also a number of Sixth-Order Peak Emperors. "Hall Master, everything is set up." End of this chapter. Chapter 55-31. Wu Shan's face is very delicate, but he looks like a Confucian scholar, without the breath of any cultivator. "Okay, you will guard this place, and I will lead people to continue the search." He is the commander-in-chief who arrested Jian Wushuang this time, so he can't stay here forever. After the arrangements were made, the search began based on the information obtained. There is an unknown strong in Liuzhou. 4 Fifth-Order Emperors appeared in Hanzhou. Their identities are unknown. A Sixth-Order Emperor appeared in Zhangzhou in the north, who is not a local powerhouse in the north. News came in one after another. Based on this information, Wu Shan launched a search to confirm. As long as it is a powerful person above the Fifth-Order Emperor, he must check one by one, and never let go of one. The Emperor is not a Taoist, no matter where he goes. He will be eye-catching. It's just that Jian Wushuang and Gong Miaoi both have treasures in them. And even the Sixth-Order Emperor can't see the true strength of the two. Jian Wushuang was even more prepared, and now he and Gong Miaoi are a pair of ordinary Taoist masters. And it's the kind of powerhouse who can't afford to sit on the teleportation array, wandering all the way to the giant gate city. If it is a person, Jian Wushuang's hidden means, let alone the Sixth-Order Emperor, even Zhu Jian can't find him. The body of the Ten Lien can change its origin at will. Jidao contains 10,000 ways and can be switched at will. Only in this way, the gods couldn't find him. He didn't really want to escape. He just wanted to secretly attract the gods. In the giant gate city, after 80 years of hiding, the purple thunder in Jian Wushuang's body has all been repaired. It's a little too smooth. Jian Wushuang frowned. 80 years ago, he got news from Wuzhua, and Deputy Hall Master Zhong had already brought people here. According to the distribution of law enforcement halls, someone should arrive early, but at present, he did not feel the breath of any Sixth-Order Emperor. Everything is weird, and when he left the Senate Palace, he didn't divulge any news. When he first arrived at Giant Gate City, even Wuzhua didn't know his location. It is strange that Deputy Hall Master Zhong was able to receive the news, but he underestimated the law enforcement hall. Fortunately, Wuzhua secretly informed him, so he could be prepared. The strength has returned to the peak. Jian Wushuang has nothing to fear. He hasn't come out yet. It's just some Sixth-Order Emperors, and he can also deal with it. But Gong Miaoi's strength is a little bit worse. Are you recovered? Gong Miaoi quickly got up when he saw him walking out of the house. Jian Wushuang nodded and said indifferently, "It's not a fatal injury. It's been recovered 7 or 88 over the years. If there is an accident, he can instantly recover to the peak. It's just not necessary." Now, he still couldn't make sure that Gong Miaoi was really fine. He needs to be confirmed again. Stay here long enough. We have to change place. Originally, according to his plan, he would hide here for 10,000 years, when the time came to wait for the limelight to pass before going out slowly. But now it has been exposed. He had to leave early. Gong Miaoi is very excited about this, because this time he will go directly to the mine. "Clean up, we are ready to go." Jian Wushuang leaked a smile, is about to face. Countless people are chased and killed. It is also interesting. His current strength has long been different from what he used to be. Among the Sixth Order emperors, except for the existence of those peaks, they are not his opponents, especially those indigenous emperors. The two people's current identities are just Dao Jun, leaving this huge city. It is also very ordinary. There is no enough to leave Jian Wushuang and Gong Miaoi. Only in this way, they are too relaxed and too smooth. How can I believe it if it is so true? Therefore, before setting off, Jian Wushuang deliberately left a very secret aura. As long as Deputy Hall Master Zhong arrived, he would be able to discover it. This breath was the power of thunder that Wuzhou left in his body. The other party will not know. After the two left the small courtyard, that trace of thunder power was reflected in a puddle, but in that puddle, a human face appeared. Jia. Even Jian Wushuang hadn't noticed this. The two went straight to the north gate of Giant Gate City, where there are many flying treasures, which are much faster than Dao Jun flying. They need to cross at least 19 major states to go to the mines. This road is extremely dangerous, except for the emperor and the strong. The general Taoist will go with each other. Those who dare to walk alone are ruthless. Go to Qinghe, Niuzhou Taoist fellows. Hurry up. If there are emperors and powerful people, it is absolutely safe all the way. Guangzhou. Many people yelled, attracting many Taoists to come. Brother Dao, even across 3 states. This price, a man with a fair face, who looked like a teenager, stepped forward and asked for the price. And behind him stood a chilling young girl with short hair sideways, very capable. These two people are Jian Wushuang and Gong Miaoyo. The yelling Taoist strongman is not weak. It is estimated that he has half the strength of the emperor. After looking at Jian Wushuang, and then glanced at Gong Miaoi, he also had a price in his heart. The more powerful the practitioner, the lower the fee. If it is an emperor, I am afraid they will have to pay for it, because there are strong people who can keep the journey safe. This flying treasure, but innate treasure, is not cheap. There are no ordinary emperors. When flying outside, it is rare to encounter emperors who kill people and overtake goods. If only you 60 sacred stones. The man in Jinpao said, "Don't worry, this time the Blue Bird Palace has the emperor and the strong, and there is no danger along the way." He was afraid that Jian Wushuang would leave because it was too expensive, so he explained the benefits. With Jian Wushuang's current status, it was a bit expensive. Actually, want 60 sacred stones. The Taoist monarchs in the casual cultivator are very ordinary, and a few thousand sacred stones are not bad, and it is indeed expensive to spend 60 sacred stones on a trip. Brother Dao, the strength of Dao Lu and I are not too bad. Both have the strength of Dao Sovereign. In normal times, there are only 20 sacred stones. Why did it suddenly rise so much? Many, even if there are senior emperors in charge. You don't need so many. Jian Wushuang said very tactfully, he just wanted to lower the price. It's just that there are so many here, and his opening made the people who were watching also surround him. The man in Jinpao frowned, fearing that Jian Wushuang would affect his voice. He shouted loudly, "Ha! The emperor is walking with you. You should be proud. Maybe you are lucky, and you can still get the emperor's guidance. This kind of opportunity is only accepted. Are you 60 sacred stones?" As soon as the voice fell, many people cursed secretly in their hearts. The emperor pointed. What did this person treat them like, as an arrogant man or as a fool? After cultivating to the Taoist monarch, if you want to join the Tao, you need to worship the sect, but when you reach this state, the general sect does not accept it. End of this chapter. Chapter 55:32. With good aptitude, he entered those big gates a long time ago. They were all screened out with mediocre qualifications. In the eyes of the emperor and powerful, they are just a bunch of fools. who would teach a fool to speak. Jian Wushuang showed a surprised expression and immediately handed over 60 sacred stones. That's right, the opportunity is very rare. The man in Jinpao accepted Jian Wushuang's sacred stone, leaked a smile, and then threw 2 jade slips to Jian Wushuang. Jian Wushuang took Gong Miaoi and left the city with him. According to Yu Jianshan's information, they need to go out of the city for 300,000 miles, and the Blue Bird Palace will stop there. Before leaving, Jian Wushuang did not forget to ask about the departure time. Listening to what the other party said, only 90% of the people have been gathered now, but because of the suspension of the teleportation array, many Daojun with a strong background will also come to take the flying treasure. Of course, it is because of a strong background, and it is only compared with them. Jian Wushuang has also seen Tianjiao with a strong background. Even if there is no teleportation formation, there are followers like emperors, so you need to take the flying treasure. They have it themselves. Why huddle with a group of people? 300,000 li for Daojun, only not far away. The two slowly arrived outside the Blue Bird Palace. Hundreds of powerful people gathered here at this time. Jian Wushuang was a little surprised. A flying treasure can take at least 1,000 people, so why are they all waiting outside? After getting close, I knew that the emperor and powerful man was resting inside, and when he set off, he would let them, Dao monarchs, enter. Jian Wushuang didn't care about it, found an open space, and sat down and waited quietly. However, some sect disciples were very angry. Humph, but as second-order emperor, what kind of pretense? My ancestor third-order emperor did not put such a big spectrum. A man with the breath of the peak, Daojun, couldn't help but complain. The second-order emperor is the lowest emperor in the 4 secret realms. But in front of these Dao monarchs, they are still unattainable figures, especially the casual cultivator, without any background. Offended the emperor, no matter what the opponent's strength, it is impossible to escape. Forget it, I can't wait long anyway. Several sect disciples didn't care much about this. This is the advantage of having a background. Even if the opponent is an emperor, he dare not rush to make a move. In the next few days, some casual repairs came one after another. The number has reached 1,000. As usual, it's almost time to leave at this time. But now, because the teleportation array is out of service, I will wait a little longer and gather more people. Anyway, it's all one trip, and there are many people who want to come to Giant Gate City there, which means eating at both ends. Rough calculations. This time, at least you can earn 50,000 sacred stones. This is a huge profit. 50,000 sacred stones are enough to buy a flying treasure. Of course, there are still great risks involved. If half of the road is robbed, the loss will be great. Maybe everyone has to get in. And once and again, plus the waiting time, it's almost 10 years. Maintaining a high degree of vigilance over the past 10 years has not been easier. 1 month later, a group of dozens of people arrived, and these talents are expected to leave. This group of people seems to be not a casual cultivator, but a sect disciple. Wearing uniform, the breath on the body is also the same. Attention everyone, leave after a stick of incense. The person who yelled was not the previous man in brocade robe in the city. Like this kind of business, no one can take it off. There are many doorways in it. The man in brocade is just responsible for promotion. There are people behind the navigation. As everyone entered the Blue Bird Palace, they found that in addition to the main hall, there were also secret rooms separated by spaces. It's just not turned on yet. The owner of the Blue Bird Palace leaked a smile after seeing the people coming in, and then said, "Dear fellow Taoists, because of the teleportation formation, the number of people this time is a bit high, but there are only those in the secret room. Not enough." Not enough. Someone frowned. Without a secret room, where should they stand and wait? With so many people gathered together, how can you practice without a secret room? Cultivation is an extremely private matter. Even if they are at ease, there are others who are not at ease. Brother Bluebird, are there people in these secret rooms? Someone asked. Bluebird, dressed in a light blue robe, stood above the main hall and smiled. Don't worry, there is still room in the secret room. It's just that everyone here, so many people who goes to the secret room and who stays here, it's very difficult for me. Do it. Difficult. A rough man walked out. A strong breath burst out instantly with a clenched fist and shouted angrily, "Then speak with strength." No, the blue bird stopped this person, and the aura on his body also burst out. That was the aura that was already close to the emperor. After the rough man felt the oppressive force, he had to step back. I'm really going to do this. If this matter goes out, how will my jade bird behave? The jade bird carried his hands and put on an expression that was difficult to handle. At this time, someone suggested, Brother Bluebird, it is better to increase the price. Those with the higher price go to the secret room, and those who don't want to bid will stay here. As soon as the voice fell, many people agreed. Originally, I was disgusted with fare increases, but after hearing the first comer, 5 sacred stones could enter a secret room. Those people had no time to curse secretly and rushed over. Jian Wushuang sneered in the corner, but he admired the other party's methods in his heart. In this way, he would earn a lot of sacred stones for no reason. It can be said to be insatiable. He and Gong Miaoi can go anywhere, but it doesn't matter. Among a group of Taoists, there is nothing to be afraid of. Is it possible that the other party can still see that his identity is not successful? I'm afraid these people don't know about the things that offered him a reward. After all, the gap is too much. Those who dared to catch him were the strong among the 6th Order emperors, and none of the 5th Order emperors had this qualification. As the proposal was approved, first those sect disciples entered the secret room. These people were not the masters of poor money at all. If a Khonshu, Com hadn't stopped the teleportation array, they wouldn't be here. It takes years to hurry, which is a waste of time. With this time, they can go to some dangerous places, and the treasures they receive are more than dozens of sacred stones. Among these sect disciples, the weakest were bamboo emperors, and there were even a few who were comparable to emperors. It's also the proud son of heaven. With the departure of the sect disciples, the number of people in the hall soon sparsed. The powerhouses and casual cultivators are not short of a few divine stones, and some have also entered the secret room. Most of the rest are incapable of strength or embarrassment in the pocket. Among them was an old man who was like a dry wood, tremblingly supported by a young man, and entered the secret room. After just taking a look, Jian Wushuang and Gong Miaoi chose to close their eyes and rest in a corner. Chapter 55:33. The strength of the old man was extraordinary, and he had injuries on his body. He was a powerful emperor. It is said that this kind of character should have the flying treasure, but I did not expect to choose the Bluebird Palace. There are some hidden things in it, but it did not affect the 2 of them, and there is no need to explore. It will take 4 years at the earliest to go to Qinghe Niuzhou. This time was nothing to Jian Wushuang, but only for a moment. For the sake of safety, he did not immerse himself in cultivation, but always paid attention to the transformation of space and was alert to his surroundings. The Bluebird Palace can be found in the mezzanine of the space. The speed is so fast that ordinary Taoists can't even see it from the outside world. Only when the emperor has mastered the origin of space can he discover this Bluebird Palace. This also prevents those interceptions. If they were able to intercept and kill them in the cracks of space, I am afraid that they are at least the emperor and the strong, and they can only admit the plant and pay the money. When it comes to the tougher, everyone will be finished. Fortunately, in recent years, because of the great influence of the Senate Palace, few emperors dared to intercept Dao Jun. If this is in the land boundary, I am afraid that it is not far from the city, and it will have to be intercepted by those evil practitioners. The practitioners of the realm are the most crazy. Compared with the earth, the heaven is the holy land for practitioners. Gong Miaoya's thoughts have been in the outside world, and it is the first time he has seen the heavens. When he escaped with Jian Wushuang, he kept running for his life without noticing any difference. Later, he couldn't get out of the gate in Jumen City, now riding in the Blue Bird Palace. She also took this opportunity to appreciate the demeanor of the heavens. In the heavens, in addition to those super cities, there are also some small cities. The super city is the pinnacle of every big state. Most of the people going there are Taoists, and there are also some Dayan immortals. It is rare for Yanxian to go to those super cities. After becoming an immortal, they usually practice in some small cities or small sections. In fact, those Taoists said they were casual cultivators, but when they were weak, they also had sections. It's just that the world is constantly getting bigger, but their sect is constantly getting smaller. Until his strength surpasses the entire sect, he will leave. After leaving, it was not so easy to enter other sects, so he began to wander and practice alone. As for the sect, only one Dharma body is left to teach the younger generation. In the heavens, there are actually more mundane sects and mundane forces. These mundanes are well protected. At a glance, countless restrictions envelop the spaces, which are filled with mundane worlds. It's easy for Yanxian to go out, but it's harder to go in again. Although the emperor could go in at will, he did not dare to kill the commonplace at will. That was the great sacrifice of the temple and the Yuan Elder Palace. This is not a land boundary. In the realm, there are very few people who dare to sacrifice to the common world. Jian Wushuang knew this kind of thing very well, and he and King Bai were often hunted down at the beginning. Although it was a blood sacrifice in the chaotic realm, there were still some old monsters who hated blood sacrifices, especially on their territory. This will affect the emperor's luck. The thing of luck is still very evil. Shelter the weak, you will get luck, which is why some super strong people will open up a country. Not only can we get a lot of luck, but also can continue the family. The best of both worlds. Inside the Blue Bird Hall, many people are talking about cultivators. If Jian Wushuang liked to listen to those weird things in the past, he might be able to dig out some useful information from them. Now, there are too many gaps. It is useless to hear it or even guess it because there are too few treasures. For example, a Taoist priest said that in Yozhou, Qinghe, there is a Lingshan mountain where the Taoist priests often get some scattered sacred stones. To these people, it was very mysterious, but to Jian Wushuang, 80% of the spiritual mountain contained a cosmic sacred stone, and the power contained in the cosmic sacred stone changed the mountain, causing some broken stones to become sacred stones. This is not a small opportunity for Dao Jun, a piece of cosmic stone. That value is not small. The emperor will be moved, but for him, a Taoist who is worth hundreds of thousands of square meters, it is no different from rubbish. Even if he wasn't hunted down, he didn't bother to watch it. When these people talked, they stared at them. Hey, look at the guy behind the little white face, the little water spirit. The thick-faced man rubbed his open chest, revealing a row of yellow teeth. The few Dao monarchs who were talking were too boring, and they couldn't practice in this place, so they all looked over. Although Gong Miaoi deliberately concealed his true face at this time, those eyes were still fascinating. A strong linen clothes is more vividly reflected the figure. If it were mundane, these people would not be like this. After all, they are all Taoist and powerful people. In the mundane world, each is an ancestor-level person. But when you see a woman of the same rank, you will still be excited, just like ordinary times. Facing the unkind look in his eyes, Jian Wushuang turned his head and looked at the opponent's gaze. A few people were stunned by just one glance, and then hesitated for 3 breaths before they woke up. After this time, if the other party wants to do something, they will be seriously injured if they are not dead. After discovering that Jian Wushuang's strength was not weak, they did not dare to be unscrupulous anymore and quickly moved their eyes away. "It's a hard problem. I can say it first. Don't trouble me," said the leading voice transmission. They are all casual cultivators and have no background, but they dare not offend people. Very cautious if the opponent's strength is weak, and it's okay, the key opponent's strength is stronger than a few of them, so you have to pay attention. The one who took the lead, nodded apologizing to Jian Wushuang, changed positions with those few, and continued the conversation. Except for these bright eyes, there are still a pair of eyes in the dark at this moment, staring at Gong Miaoi. In the Blue Bird Palace, a secret room, a gray-haired old man has a distorted face, and his body is like dry wood. "Master, your injury." There was a middle-aged man beside the old man. He was looking at the old man anxiously at this time, not knowing what to do. The old man's eyes were a little muddy. Speaking of which, this time in the Blue Bird Palace, there are several emperors, and each of them is very big. Jian Wushuang and Gong Miaoi didn't talk about it, just talking about the old man and the middle-aged man at the moment. They were very unusual. The two of them are big monsters in a certain area outside the Giant Gate City. They are now wanted by the law enforcement hall. They were still discovered while fleeing with their disciples, and then rushed out desperately, but they were also seriously injured. 9 tongs. How long will it take to reach Qinghe? The old man's voice was very hoarse, and now he urgently needs blood to be injected into his source to relieve his injury. But he didn't dare to enter the Giant Gate City at all, and he was worried about outsiders, so he could only flee to Qinghe first to find a way. Chapter 55-34. His wanted order was not for the entire territory, but just wanted for Giant Gate City. When you arrive in Qinghe, you can do it recklessly. Holding a piece of jade slip, Jutong directly found out its location and said, "Master, it will take another 3 years. It's too slow, since it's out of the sphere of influence of the Giant Gate City. There is no need to hide here. Prepare to do it." The old man's trembling body seemed to fall at any time, but when he said this, his body, the magic flames, rose instantly. Unexpectedly, there is still a female Taoist with a special physique hidden here, which is a great tonic. Jutong was stunned for a moment, and then Nianli leaned out of the secret room and entered the main hall. He also found Gong Miaoi and said with joy, "Master has good eyesight. I haven't found her at first." The respected master is the respected master, no matter how secret the prey hides. It can be discovered. This is also a gap in strength. Jiotong is only the 3rd-order peak emperor, and his master is the 4th-order emperor. There is a huge gap in strength. First, solve the 2nd-order emperor. These righteous emperors, each of them high-sounding. A small 2nd-order emperor. I don't know how many killed. I didn't expect that in front of these Tao monarchs, they were pretending to be immortal. The old man disdainfully smiled. That 2nd-order emperor is indeed quite outrageous. He is a 4th-order emperor, although he is a demon, but he has never put such a big score. Maybe it's because of living in the dark. And that 2nd-order emperor is a righteous emperor, and it is normal to be respected. Although he would oppress those Sanqiu Dao monarchs, at least he would not slaughter them at will. 9 tongs leaked a dark face, and the strong aura instantly pulled the Blue Bird Palace from the gap in the space. It is not suitable for fighting in the crevice of space. Once the Blue Bird Palace is lost, those Dao monarchs will also die instantly. These people are still a great supplement. Of course, they can't just be wasted. The Blue Bird Palace was pulled out of the space, and the speed slowed down. Everyone in the hall suddenly stood up. Some Taoists in the secret room also rushed out. In the crevice of space, being forcibly pulled out by a powerful force. The opponent must be a powerful emperor. And it is hidden in the Bluebird Palace. Because from the outside, if you want to pull the Bluebird Palace out of the space, you will directly attack. But now the Bluebird Palace is more like an initiative to go out. Bluebird rushed out of the control room. Directly, cold sweat appeared on his forehead. I don't know that the senior is in the Bluebird Palace, and the younger has no eyes. Please forgive me. He was extremely nervous at this time, and at the same time, he had secretly transmitted to the second-order emperor. Juchi helped the skinny old man walk out of the secret room and said calmly, "Brother Bluebird, don't be nervous, master, and I just can't get used to sitting and want to go down now. It's the fault of the younger generation. Please forgive me. This is the 50,000 sacred stone. Please accept it." The Bluebird turned and bowed directly. Others don't know. I'm afraid he thought he was too careful, but only people like Jade Bird, who often run shipping, know. Once the situation emerges halfway, 80% will fall. Another 20% escaped by strength. In front of these two, he couldn't see the details. I am afraid they are all emperors. With just a gesture, they can be headed. Here in the deep wilderness, countless wild beasts are rampant. It is too easy to kill and overwhelm. Jiutong didn't bother to deal with each other. 50,000 sacred stones were nothing in their eyes. The right way is vicissitudes, but the magic way is not bad for money. There is nothing simpler than buying and selling without making a profit. Killing all of these people, plus the Bluebird Palace, can also produce hundreds of thousands of sacred stones. The third-order emperor of the right way is worth this. The third-order emperors of Demon Dao are worth comparable to those fourth-order emperors. That's why I look down on them. Killing these people, everything belongs to them. When these people are dead, no one will be able to see how ugly they are. So why bother to lose their prestige in front of these ants? Want to escape? Jiutong snorted coldly and shot instantly. With his arms extended for thousands of miles, he directly grabbed the second-order emperor who was hiding in the largest secret room. I was almost run away by the opponent just now. Senior, forgive me. I have followed Venerable Blaze. Venerable Burning Fire? Jiutong sneered. Even if the great Lord of Burning Fire does not fall, I will take you down. I don't know how far it is from Liuzhou. Even if Venerable Burning Fire did not fall, he would not be afraid. The key is that Venerable Fire has fallen, and the temple has disappeared from the northern border. This is the world of the Senate Palace. If it is a person from the law enforcement hall, he might still be worried, but the name of a dead person can't scare him. Call. A huge suction directly melted the second-order emperor instantly, turned into blood, and entered the old man's body. With this blood, the old man's face also recovered a little, but it was far from enough. Wanna completely recover, unless you swallow the blood of a fourth-order emperor. But in front of these Dao monarchs, he casually killed a second-order emperor, which immediately caused panic. Many people began to report their homes. I, Wang Kuan, the son-in-law of the Dingtian Shao family. The ancestor is the fourth-order peak emperor. Please forgive me. Junior Qinglan sect chief, disciple, please. King Neo's face turned pale, and it was amused to look at the Taoists who reported themselves. Speaking of it, his background is also very strong. If he encounters a professional interception team, it is still useful to report his name, but these two are obviously different. 90% of them are big monsters. It's impossible to survive, especially the practice of reporting one's identity. Maybe it's faster to die. Jiutong glanced at the crowd, nodded and smiled. You are so cute. You can even say that you are all beautiful. If you have one set after another, keeping it is a waste of resources. Huh. The hundreds of people who had stood up and reported their identities instantly turned into blood mist and finally condensed a drop of blood. Jian Wushuang, who was sitting in the corner, called the good guys. These two were more professional than he thought. It seems that the old man has done nothing less. The practitioner can instantly transform into essence and blood, and it is estimated that the body possesses a unique knowledge. And it's also about the origin of blood. Jian Wushuang's eyes were strange. He knows very little about the blood path, and he has obtained the secret method of the blood path from the gods, but it is not a complete secret method. Although it is only a beginner level, the power contained therein is not weak at all. This kind of secret method is a demon way, and most people don't know how to practice it, unless it is the kind of heavenly demon cultivation method, which is both righteous and evil. It is said to be demon Tao cultivation method, but it does not threaten anyone, but the inheritor was once a heavenly demon. The blood path is different. As long as you practice, you will definitely go to the magic path. Jian Wushuang was not disgusted with this kind of magical behavior, and it was completely impossible for him to compete with natural selection. Chapter 55:35. There is no limit at all. Even if the heaven is very stable, there are few big demons among the emperors, but there are still some people who dare to try. Just like those casual cultivators who wander at the bottom, if they can't continue their cultivation, their potential is not good, and they don't have a backing, they can only choose to walk on the path of blood. After all, the improvement is fast. Few people can resist this temptation, unless it is an excellent talent and a good background. Oh, Jian Wushuang sighed. According to the plan, he should have taken the Bluebird Palace to Qinghan Youzhou, but now it seems that the plan still cannot keep up with the changes. If he knew it earlier, he had settled these two people ahead of time. The road is difficult, and it is not easy for anyone. He is not soft. Whose way is easy? It's not easy. Regardless of good or evil, he only looks at the essence. There is no right or wrong, but each excuses for themselves. The old man Kuchai recovered a trace of blood and was not in a hurry to deal with those casual repairs. There is too much difference in strength to threaten him at all. There is no need to be so anxious. His goal is Gong Miaoyi in the corner. Little girl. The skinny old man squinted his eyes. His voice was very soft, but the light in his eyes was full of killing intent. Gong Miaoyi did not resist, but glanced at Jian Wushuang. Get ready to do it. This is a wilderness, and the hands of the Senate Palace can't reach this far. Jian Wushuang calmly transmitted the voice. I cleaned up these people, changed their identities in a big deal, and flew over directly, or continue to use the Bluebird Palace as a cover, but these saint cultivators can't stay. Little girl, get ready to dedicate yourself to your master. The skinny old man took out his scepter and held up his hands, as if doing some kind of ritual. Although Gong Miaoyi's eyes were close in apathy, but the bottom of his heart was like Mingjing. Killing these people is too simple, but in order not to expose yourself, it is better to hide the means and use other power to kill these people. For example, relying solely on the body. When walking slowly in front of the old man Kuchai, everyone held their breath. If they were still skeptical just now, then it is now certain that these two are definitely the Emperor of the Magic Road. They are really over. The Bluebird Palace Lord knelt aside. The cold sweat on his forehead had already seeped out, and he was unwilling to fall like that. Just as the old man Kuchai was holding the ceremony, he slipped out a trace of thought power quietly, preparing to separate a trace of origin, abandoning the physical body and the divine body, and also escape here. Even if he died in the wilderness, he didn't want to be ravaged to death by the Emperor of the Demon Tao. Call. That trace of thought power is very weak, and the average emperor may not really find it, but the 9-pass emperor, but the third order peak exists. When the Bluebird had just reached out that trace of thought power, he discovered it. Thanks, Brother Bluebird. You are too dishonest." As soon as the tone of the 9 calls fell, a ray of light lit up on the dark fingertips, directly piercing the origin of the Bluebird Hallmaster. Fallen instantly, that trace of thought power that protruded from the Bluebird Palace also dissipated. Those casual cultivators are already desperate and originally wanted to fight for it. Now, there is no chance at all. It is too easy to solve them. Jiutong looked at those desperate casual repairs playfully, leaking a disdainful smile. But at this moment his master's eyes suddenly shrank, and a burst of hot blood spurted out of his mouth. The black blood ran down the corners of the mouth, and his voice hoarsely said, "You—" The arm pointed stiffly at Gong Miaowie, and then crashed to the end. This time it was 9 Pass' turn to despair. He hadn't reacted yet, just turned his head to see that the master had fallen. Then he saw a casual cultivator that he had never seen directly standing next to his master's corpse, his hands covered with blood. Thump! Jiutong knelt down in shock, begging for mercy. "Senior, forgive me. He threatened me to do this. It has nothing to do with me." This is how the practitioner of the magic way does not care about anything in order to survive. As soon as Master was killed, he immediately turned back. At this time, the casual repairs also reacted, backing one after another. All this is so exciting. One wave after another has not settled. This time, they really responded to that sentence. They couldn't suffer, and they had gained insights. Several hidden emperors appeared one after another, and now 2 emperors have fallen. Where to look at this kind of scene? This time, even if it fell, it was worth it. Mia. Jian Wushuang just said one word, as if he spoke with the usual method. Jiutong's body began to dissipate, and then turned into a phantom. Jiutong watched as his body shattered, followed by the rupture of the divine body and the depletion of the source. Before he fell, he understood what kind of powerhouse he had just faced. That is the legendary Peak Emperor. Although it was a wrong guess, Jian Wushuang's life force, killing emperors of this level, was indeed comparable to the methods that existed in the extreme. But really want to deal with Zhu Jian, his method is somewhat stretched. The power of the absolute emperor is so terrifying. Even if the power of life is special, it is impossible to go beyond the ranks to fight with the extreme. Moreover, the most powerful thing is not only power, but also the perception of space, which exceeds that of ordinary emperors too much. In the black hole realm, reaching the 6th Order Emperor, and the 6th Order Emperor wants to step into the extreme state, he needs space to rise to the level of the universe. Or he created his own cosmic secret method. Do one of them, and you will be able to reach the ultimate state. As for the indigenous emperors of the 4 great secret realms, their origins are flawed, and the space origins are very weak, and it is difficult to reach the universe realm. Therefore, most of the 4 great secret realms have created the secrets of the universe, and the realm of the space origin has been stuck in the realm of black holes. It is extremely difficult to even raise the realm of black holes to the top. Also, these inheritors, their origins were born from the primitive universe. No matter how strong or weak, they are at least complete. But even so, it is still difficult to raise the space to the level of cosmic space. In terms of training time, compared with the emperors of the 4 secret realms, also suffers a lot, so there are very few superpowers. As a result, the primordial universe didn't have a strong person, not even a 6th Order Emperor. In the time and space of Hanoi, 6th Order Emperors are rare. Most of them are 5th Order Emperors. That is to say, when the Temple of Qixin appeared, so many powerhouses would suddenly emerge. However, as time goes by, even if there is no Temple of Qixin, countless powerhouses will be born in the future. The arrival of Temple of Qixin only speeds up the process of this long river of time and space. For example, Shang, before he entered the Temple of Qixin, the space had reached the universe realm, and he also created the prototype of the universe's secret law. It is very easy to enter the Sixth Order Emperor, and it can even quickly enter the ranks of the top powerhouses. It's just that no one taught, and after taking some side roads, there is a real spirit who personally pointed out behind him. Now that the cosmic secret method is Mahayana, the cosmic space is also perfected, and the Lord of the Cosmos is left. End of this chapter. Chapter 55:36. If there is no real spirit's guidance, this process will probably be very long. Jian Wushuang himself did the same. Without the appearance of the Temple of Qixin, there would be no skeletal army, and when the heart strength was not grasped, he accidentally entered the starry sky, and then mastered the extreme way, that is, the road that is groped out from the heart. In normal times, even if you throw it to you, you won't be able to cultivate. Among them, there are external reasons and their own efforts, but more people are pushing all this. Push an immature river of time and space to its peak. Can be regarded as encouraging. In the Temple of Qixin, after growing up to the top, there is nowhere to go. There are not even a few tops in the outside world, and the inheritance and chance are very common. This will make them no longer have a sense of crisis when they reach that level and then stagnate. I don't know if it is good or bad. Jian Wushuang's heart moved, but he was a little prepared for a rainy day. At the moment, the plan is still at the core. It is still far away to master things like the Temple of Qixin. Gong Miaoi on the side spotted Jian Wushuang's distraction and asked, "Go straight." Gong Miaoi turned his head and glanced at the saintly monks. Jian Wushuang nodded and said, "I never kill the weak. Don't forget that this place is far-fetched. Even if you can go out alive, it may take tens of thousands of years. The core of the Blue Bird Palace has been destroyed. They have no Blue Bird Palace. Protection, it would be nice to survive." But as soon as his words fell, a huge black dragon appeared in the distant sky, rushing towards the two people's position without a single sight. The Blue Bird Palace, compared with the dragon, was like a grain of sand and disappeared in an instant. Ancient desolate beast. Jian Wushuang frowned. They shouldn't be so unlucky. First, there was a problem with the Blue Bird Palace, and then encountered an ancient barren beast of this level. Some places in the heavens where there are no practitioners are deep wilderness. It is said that it is a deep wilderness, and there is only a wilderness, and there are very few desolate beasts, especially the powerful desolate beasts, like this barren ancient flood dragon. It has the combat power of a Sixth Order Emperor, and it is even rarer. Once it appears, I'm afraid it will soon attract a large number of strong people to come and besiege. This is a gluttonous feast, a wild ancient flood dragon. I am afraid it is worth 10,000 cosmic crystals. The Mahan body flood dragon in the mature stage. If it were normal, Jian Wushuang would feel that he was the chosen of heaven, and he would be able to encounter this kind of genius treasure in the great wilderness. But now it's different. He was hunted down, but he didn't have time to enjoy this. Its goal is us. Gong Miaoi frowned. Her strength was only the Fifth Order peak, and if it were the Sixth Order Emperor of the Four Secret Realms, she could still fight. But the wild ancient flood dragon in front of him is not only better than the practitioners of the four great secret realms, but even stronger than some of the Sixth Order Emperors among the inheritors. According to the strength of the North Tower, this flood dragon probably already has the top level of Tier 6, similar to Jian Wushuang's current strength. Once entangled, it may be difficult to get out. But if you want to go, it's not that easy. Since you have encountered it, kill it. Jian Wushuang leaked a trace of murderous aura. Sword Qi came instantaneously, and the breath that had been ingested burst out instantly. The desolate ancient dragon screamed upwards, hovering in the sky, covering the sky and the sun. Little Dao Jun, dare to be presumptuous in front of this seat. Huanggu Jiaolong vomited, his huge eyes staring at Jian Wushuang. Jian Wushuang sneered. "It's a beast. Do you really think I can't kill you?" The Jueyun sword was pulled out in an instant. He didn't want to waste time. He would fight if he fought, and leave as soon as he failed. The appearance of this barren ancient flood dragon was unexpected, and it was even more strange to see that he was a Taoist monarch. Although he actively leaked his breath, the fierce sword aura was comparable to a sixth-order emperor, and the other party was not surprised at all. There may be some conspiracy in this. It's just that Wuzhou has never heard from him, and he doesn't know who is planning behind this. Maybe it's the gods. Maybe it's the other powerhouses in the law enforcement hall. But if someone from the law enforcement hall found him, Wuzhou must have known it. Jian Wushuang, who was holding the Jueyun sword, took one step, and he had already reached the side of the ancient giant beast. Dead. As soon as he came up, he didn't have any hands left, and if a sword was opened, it would be dead. This sword pierced through the body of the ancient flood dragon. The opponent's size was too large, and the speed was so slow that there was no way to hide. But then Jian Wushuang was stunned. He only knew that the strength of the desolate beast was very strong, and it was not clear which aspect was the specific strength. Now he understands. His strongest sword actually only broke some of the opponent's soft armor, not even a slight injury. This terrifying defensive power, the level of the physical body, is probably not lost to the supergrade physical body, and the divine body is even comparable to the emperor, who can be 60,000 times the divine body. After feeling the wounds on his body, the ancient flood dragon threw up to the sky and roared, "You can break through the scales of this seat. It." A pitch-black mist sprayed from the opponent's mouth, and the originally dim sky plunged into darkness. In the darkness, the Jiaolong was swimming, and the claws of the Jiaolong suddenly grabbed Jian Wushuang directly. The sharp claws made Jian Wushuang's heart palpitations. In a daze, he saw the claws that used to tear the sky. Then I was overjoyed. This Jiaolong has a relationship with the candle dragon. It is the power of blood. This wild ancient flood dragon must have the blood of the candle dragon, and there are some innate inheritance in the blood, and that inheritance is the claw technique of the candle dragon. At first, I thought it was very tricky, and I was going to give up fighting with this dragon. It was better to leave directly, and at his speed. He would be able to get rid of it soon. But this is no longer necessary. It has a blood relationship with the beast god candle dragon. If you can kill it, you may be able to restore the beast god weapon by using the blood and flesh of the opponent. Thinking of this, Jian Wushuang, in order to stimulate the opponent, revealed his body and the beasts and soldiers who had lost their power. The candle dragon's wings tremble suddenly, and a Khonshu calm directly removed the black fog. Then the wings shook behind her back, and she instantly arrived in Gong Miao's figure and hugged her directly. She could no longer get involved in this level of battle. "You leave first. Hand it to me here." Jian Wushuang put down Gong Miaoyi, handed him a token, and said, "Take it and go north. I will find you soon." Gong Miaoyi is not an indecisive person either. After nodding, he still said, "Be careful," then quickly left here. The wild ancient flood dragon poked out a huge head from the black mist, and black mist was billowing from its rough nostrils, staring at the candle dragon wings on Jian Wushuang's body. Jian Wushuang also noticed the opponent's gaze, and then the candle dragon's inner armor also came out. And this, Jian Wushuang shouted angrily. Chapter 55:37. The candle dragon's wings opened instantly. His left arm suddenly clenched his fist, and a striped road appeared on the dark red arm, which contained the power of the beast god. It's just that these lines and wings cannot be linked. at the center of his eyebrows. The eye of the candle dragon also leaked out. The wild, ancient Jiaolong became more and more angry as it looked at it, but that was something from its ancestor. But before it was angry, Jian Wushuang first started to move, imitating the claw of the dragon, and the palm of his hand instantly turned into the claw of the candle dragon. Hiss! In the sky, the black mist was swallowed by 5 spatial cracks. The crack was caused by Jian Wushuang's claws of the beast god. Although it did not have the power of the beast god, it had sufficient life force. This claw, although the other party did not receive any substantial harm, but the insult was great. "Practitioner, you angered this seat. I want you to die?" Jian Wushuang sneered. "Aren't you angry at the beginning?" Although the opponent was already a 6th-order emperor, from the perspective of the dialogue, his wisdom was average. It is no wonder that it will be called a desolate beast, not a monster. The ones he encountered in Shihai were Yaozu. It is strange to say that some strong monsters even want to call themselves wild beasts. However, the IQ of Desolate Beast was very low, and it could not be compared with Yaozu at all. The only thing that is strong is his own strength. The monster race is the same as the human race, with a huge ability to multiply, and the understanding is not low, and the speed of multiplying is also very fast. In some primitive universes in the long river of time and space, the situation of all the monster races in the universe has already appeared. Natural selection. In some primitive universes, there are certain errors, and there will be a certain kind of single ethnic common people who are unbalanced in air luck. He was in the same primitive universe, with the human race as the leading one, and there were few monsters who were strong. This is also the drawback of the primitive universe. It was the same when I was in the divine power universe. It's not good to be too single. Divine power and virtual power can actually coexist. If there is a master of the universe, you can directly refine the two into one. It's a pity that they don't have the master of the universe in this long river of time and space. Jian Wushuang was very easy to fight against the ancient flood dragon. Although he could not severely injure the opponent, it was also difficult for the opponent to injure him. Can't even touch him at all. The speed difference is too much. He had walked a long way in the space, and he was able to grasp the realm of the black hole immediately. But this barren ancient flood dragon, even entering the gap of space, must first use brute force to break the void. Very clumsy. Farming. Jian Wushuang appeared behind Jiaolong. His mouth moved, and a huge Dharma photo appeared behind him. That is a symbol of origin. Jian Wushuang looked kind and good-looking with the huge pale green face. That is the source of life. The wild ancient Jiaolong hooked his head, staring at Jian Wushuang with his huge eyes, revealing a trace of panic. That breath. He thought it was the first ancestor who had come. That is the oppressive power of blood. How is it possible? The wild ancient flood dragon couldn't continue, and roared, "A trivial human race. How can it suppress the blood of this seat?" After fighting for so long, the opponent has been playing the game of cat and mouse. But he was groping. Explore the other's weaknesses. It is not easy to kill this wild ancient flood dragon. Frontal confrontation is disadvantageous. Can only seek the side-by-side. In the end, he discovered that it was still related to the power of life, and he was dizzy for a while, or the other party was too stupid, which affected his judgment. This level of barren ancient behemoth is most afraid of bloodline suppression. The force of life is the most overwhelming opponent. "You idiot, I have met my ancestors, but I still don't pay him a visit." Jian Wushuang merged with the FA. His body changed in an instant, and he suddenly turned into a candle dragon the size of hundreds of thousands of miles. The arrogance is still rising, and the breath of the candle dragon is also very similar. The ancient flood dragon was shocked again. Ancestor. It couldn't tell the truth from the false for a while. It is a barren, ancient flood dragon of the Sixth Order monarch level, but it has the power of a candle dragon's bloodline. It has never seen a real candle dragon, and it has only been vaguely felt in the bloodline inheritor. Kneel down. Jian Wushuang turned into a candle dragon with incredibly violent arrogance. There is really a kind of king's breath from the sky. The natural beast gods are all the masters of the pinnacle universe, but they are not kings. When the ancient Jiaolong heard the word kneeling, his four claws were so soft that he almost lay on the ground, and then came over clearly, roaring and rushing towards Jian Wushuang, going desperately, "Do you dare to fool me?" The wild, ancient flood dragon was very annoyed. Jian Wushuang shook his head. It was really boring. It felt like fighting with a child. Life universe. The withered vines and rotten leaves in the deep wilderness began to explode with powerful vitality. After a civet cat struggling in the mire felt the strong vitality, originally only one paw leaked outside and instantly broke free from the mire. The weak little monster beast that had just died of old age after receiving the power of life also began to recover and exploded with huge life potential. Sit up in shock from dying illness. It's just that. Within the hundreds of millions of miles shrouded in the universe of life, everything is revived. A weak gas for Jian Wushuang also gathered in his body. This move can not only kill the enemy, but also plunder luck, rescuing the weak, and the weak will get the original Qi luck from the Qixin Temple. Although it is a little trivial, if you use the life universe in some mundane worlds, I am afraid you will get a huge amount of Qi luck. However, he has not yet become an emperor, and luck is a bit of a taste for him, not much help. Moreover, he does not have the leisurely elegance to gather luck. 1 does not refining alchemy, and 2 does not create a clan or power. It is useless to have so much luck, so it is better to improve your strength. It's different in the outside world. Just like Shen Wuyang in the past, gathering Qi luck, it was because he was already invincible in the Qi domain. There was no room for improvement, and he could only play with Qi luck. After coming to the Temple of Qixin, it was a thrilling inheritance all day long. How can I have time to play this? It's too low level. All beings shrouded in the universe of life are undergoing transformation, but the ancient flood dragon is constantly weakening. The life force was suppressed, and the blood began to dissipate. Without the blood of the candle dragon, the life level was also suppressed, and all abilities were weakening except for the physical body. The divine body declined rapidly, although the physical body did not have much impact. It also began to lose a lot of vitality. There is no healing power, like in the past. In other words, every time he attacked, it would be a huge trauma which still cannot be healed. Desperate, Jian Wushuang held the Jueyun sword upside down, staring at the ancient flood dragon. He didn't disperse the way of the candle dragon. He just stood in the sky and stared at the barren ancient flood dragon, and his body rushed out, ready to slaughter. The time for the two to fight is not too fast, and it has been deadlocked for an hour. Chapter 55:38. At this hour of time, the huge aura tilted, and it has attracted many emperors and powerful men roaming in the wilderness. These people are far away. They can feel that powerful aura, and they don't dare to come forward to check, but they have already notified the family or the powerhouse of the sect. Most of those strong men were in the Senate Palace or met the emperors in the Senate Palace, and this matter quickly spread. In the deep wilderness outside Qinghanyozhou, there is a sixth-order emperor fighting, and the opponent is still a sixth-order emperor-level desolate beast. Deputy Hall Master Zhong, who has the most intelligence, received the news soon. Now the whole realm arrests Jian Wushuang. As long as it is about the fifth-order or sixth-order emperor, it will be reported continuously. He was not surprised to receive this news. Qinghanyozhou, Deputy Hall Master Zhong looked cold. took out a piece of jade slip, and began to look at the map of the entire northern border. From Jumen City to Qinghe it happened to pass through the wilderness here. It seems that 80% of them are Jian Wushuang. Deputy Hall Master Zhong leaked a smile. Leaving the 8-gate teleportation array, the goal is Qinghe. Deputy Hall Master Zhong said coldly, "We have to hurry up in front of him and go to Qinghe first. Everyone will hide their breath when they reach the place. Who should dare expose a trace of breath and exempt the salary of 10 epics?" Yes, Deputy Hall Master Zhong guessed very accurately. This is actually nothing. There are only a few 6th Order Emperors. Just ask them one by one to understand. Since it is an unfamiliar 6th Order Emperor, the chance of breaking through is very small. Even if the 5th Order Emperor breaks through, there will be news. The appearance of a 6th Order Emperor is a major event in the north. Of this kind of strong, not to mention the need for comprehensive surveillance, at least to be prepared, tell the details of oneself, and then go to verify it. What if the other party is inserted by the Shadow Zongan? Not to mention the 6th Order Emperor, that is, many 3rd Order Emperors are in the archives of the Yuan Lao Palace. Only in this way can we monitor the world, monitor and control the entire northern border. Otherwise, it would have become the back garden of the gods, just like the realm, except for the middle domain controlled by the temple. The other 4 domains are almost the back garden of the Kimen, which can be said to be everywhere. In Daxia, where Jian Wushuang was originally located, almost the top-level powerhouses have something to do with Kimen. In the entire realm, in terms of comprehensive strength, Kimen even surpassed the influence of the White Tiger Palace. In the celestial realm, especially in the North Realm now, it is rare to hear about shadow sect forces similar to K-Men. Also, the mundane world is deeply ingrained and difficult to eradicate. Almost all of the people above the gods have been pulled up, and they are still pulled out. For example, if the emperor of a certain sect is related to the shadow sect, then the emperor of the entire sect will suffer. The severe ones are directly obliterated, and the marginal figures need to be suppressed in prison. It doesn't matter, it will be escorted to the mine for mining, and will be released after digging enough, or that is a long time. It is not that the law enforcement hall is too cruel. Only this kind of iron blood suppression can be effective. But even so, there are still some that have not been eradicated. The group of people who rescued Jian Wushuang was the emperor whose gods were planted in the palace of the old men. Even the base camp of the Senate Palace can penetrate, and I have to say that the methods of the gods are exaggerated. For rebels, the methods of the law enforcement hall have always been harsh, especially the Deputy Master Zhong, one of the 2 major deputy masters. He couldn't wait for Jian Wushuang to cast himself into the net. After arranging the countermeasures, they directly transmitted to the supercontinent, Dongzhou continent, in Niuzhou, Qinghe. Their figures are like ghosts and enchantments. On the East State continent, there is a supremely strong man, and even that supremely strong man has not found him. After everything was set up, the Deputy Hall Master Zhong waited for Jian Wushuang's arrival, and he also reported the news to Wu Zua. After receiving the news, Wu Zua said with satisfaction, "Yes, you must wait for Jian Wushuang to arrive. I will deploy my strength in secret to help you. Remember to save your life and not let the second person know about this plan." Yes, Deputy Hall Master Zhong was also very excited. He couldn't wait to catch Jian Wushuang a long time ago. Grasping Jian Wushuang is not for those cosmic crystals, but to prove oneself. Also has the last trace of dignity as a veteran. But he didn't know. Just after telling Wu Zua the good news, Wu Zua turned his head and informed Jian Wushuang. In the abyss, Jian Wushuang was standing on a huge skeleton. The candle dragon's claws penetrated into the skeleton's skull, and then the astonishing swallowing power directly swallowed all the certain power contained in the skeleton into his body. Then he sealed the power in a jade bottle. Jian Wushuang opened his hands, 3 jade bottles, and a small box. The jade bottle contained the blood, bone marrow, and divine body of the ancient dragon, while the box contained the inner alchemy of the ancient dragon, which was equivalent to the origin of the practitioner. These things are all treasures, and if they are sold out, they are all priceless treasures, and only the strongest can afford them. This barren ancient flood dragon, I am afraid that the entire northern border is only one end, and the barrier has been encountered by him. After receiving the news from Wuzhua, he was not so anxious, and he left to the north to chase Gong Miaoyi after everything was prepared. With his speed, he can catch up very quickly. Now Deputy Hall Master Zhong, waiting for him in Dongzhou Continent, the core area of Qinghanyozhou, is indeed a trouble. He originally wanted to go to Dongzhou to devote himself to mining, and then get into the mine to rescue Gong Miaoyi's father. Now it seems that it is not that easy. Since this method does not work, try another method. If Dongzhou is not available, he will go to Qingzhou. However, he has now exposed his position and must find a way to get past it. Jian Wushuang thought a little bit in his heart, and the 2 groups of huge life force broke away from his origin, and then rushed in one direction. These 2 groups of life force turned into 2 figures during the flight. One is Jian Wushuang, and the other is Gong Miaoyi. They are all clones. Run away. He is professional. Okanshu, come, even if Zhu Jian appeared, he could still escape. After the deity caught up with Gong Miaoyi, the 2 took out an ordinary flying treasure, and then disguised as the Blue Bird Palace, heading towards the mainland of Qingzhou. The clone has reached the East Continent at an extremely fast speed. Let's go to Qingzhou. Although there is a slight change in the plan, it has nothing to do with the overall situation. Qingzhou mainland. It is a deserted ancient continent with few practitioners living in it. Zongmen and families are even less pitiful. The entire Qingzhou mainland is larger than Liuzhou, but there is only one medium-sized city. Chapter 55:39. There is only one 4th-order emperor sitting inside. After Jian Wushuang and Gong Miaoyi entered the city, they went straight to the mine team. The mine mountain range covers 10 major states. According to the route, the Qingzhou mainland is much closer than the Dongzhou mainland. In several large states, near the mines, there are locations for recruiting miners. Every moment, never stopped. After all, it is not enough to capture the emperor alone, but it is very difficult to recruit emperor-level absenteeism and often pay some sky-high rewards, and there are not many. Behind the old palace came up with a way. Any emperor wanted by the law enforcement hall can be revoked as long as he signs up to go to the mine for mining for an era, and he will be paid. Because of this kind of behavior, many emperors have been attracted over the years, and Jian Wushuang and Gong Miaoyi came in this way. Before going, Jian Wushuang specially selected a pair of black and white double evil spirits. These black and white double evil spirits were both tier 4 top emperors. The 2 had cultivated a very special skill, and together they could burst out the power of tier 4 peak. It is very famous in the north. Jian Wushuang got news of the 2 from Wuzhua, and they were lurking in a barren land in the Qingzhou mainland. If you want to replace the identity of the 2, you have to get rid of the other party first, and then search for the soul of the other party to ingest the memory of the other party to be able to better disguise. That's it. Jian Wushuang said indifferently, these 2 people will pick a place. There are no barren beasts here, and almost no one will come here. Gong Miaoyi took a picture, and the surrounding space was sealed off. Don't leave any traces. Gong Miaoyi's eyes had a light that was more cautious than Jian Wushuang. After all, It has something to do with the rescue of her father. The change of space immediately led to the black and white double evil spirits. The two of them looked shocked. They both hid here, and they were still found. It can only be said that they were unlucky. The female emperor in the black and white double evil spirits was bright and white and saw the two unfamiliar emperors in front of her and said loudly, "Two seniors, can you bypass me and my husband? We are willing to enter the mine." The reason why I chose to hide here is not only because it is more concealed, but also because it is very close to the mine. If it doesn't work, I turn around and enter the mine. It's a pity that I made the wrong idea. Jian Wushuang raised his hand, and the sword energy shuttled through the two directly, destroying all the physical and divine bodies, leaving only the origin of rushing away. Why do seniors rush to kill them? It's better to kill the two of me, and be willing to serve for life. The white evil female emperor had a strong desire to survive, and kept begging for mercy. But Gong Miaoyi was already full of killing intent at this time, and no one could stop it. These two are perfect substitutes, using their identities to enter the mine, and then look for their father. Not only can the people in the law enforcement hall be unable to detect them, they can also further save people through this identity. She will leave it to you. Jian Wushuang then left and went directly in front of the black evil spirit. The opponent's face has an iron face. Although the opponent's body has been destroyed, the iron face has not disappeared, and the original face has not been revealed. Jian Wushuang's empty big hand directly squeezed Haisha, then reached out his other hand, grabbed the iron face, and tugged hard. Puff! The opponent fell completely. Jian Wushuang was very surprised. He fell instantly after losing his mask. He was caught off guard, taking advantage of the fact that the opponent's origin had not completely disappeared. Jian Wushuang urged the swallowing power to swallow all the broken origins into the Sea of Origins. Hey, how? This is Haisha's real name. It's just that the origin is broken, the consciousness has also collapsed, and the memories he gets are all incomplete. Can only guess a rough idea. Hey Hao's life can be said to be very exciting. When Dao Jun, he was a peerless Tianjiao of a certain sect, and the body of Dao Jun was comparable to that of a second-tier emperor. Jian Wushuang was puzzled by such a proud man of heaven, but fell into the devil's way. It is a pity that the memories obtained are all incomplete, and many important memories are shattered and cannot be seen at all. People of the human world. Jian Wushuang's eyes sank. The identity of this black evil spirit is very strange. From the secret world of the human world, the memories of the Taoist monarchs were fairly complete. They were all in a sect in the secret realm of the human world. After becoming an emperor, they were directly the memory of the heavens, and they also inherited the unique knowledge of the black and white divine palace and became the black evil spirit. It took a total of 100,000 years to become an emperor, and he had cultivated to the top emperor of Tier 4. This speed shocked Jian Wushuang. Really a peerless Tianjiao. Dao Jun can be comparable to the second-order emperor, and Hadao is almost the third-order emperor. From the third-order emperor to the fourth-order top, in 100,000 years, this is already comparable to ordinary inheritors. Although the memory in the back is a bit broken, and the secret things are lost, some people still know what happened. This is enough. Enough to deal with the interrogation of the Yuan Elder Palace. Gong Miaoyi's side is smooth after all. There is no mask or foreign treasure on Baisha's face. After searching the other party's memory, Gong Miaoyi's hand is rising. The power of Shula wiped out the opponent instantly. Jian Wushuang curiously said, "In the other party's memory, there are not many memories of Haisha's life experience." He still held the iron face in his hand. The material of this mask was very special. It was by no means an ordinary treasure. and the material was stronger than the eternal treasure. It just can't stimulate and recognize the Lord. Holding it in the hand is no different from an ordinary mask, but it can be linked to the origin of Haisha, and there must be some secrets in it. Gong Miaoi looked at Jian Wushuang in surprise and replied, "This white evil spirit seems to be a disciple of the black evil spirit. 100,000 years ago, the white evil spirit was still ordinary. It was the black evil spirit who saved her life, entering the ruins of the black and white shrine, gaining the inheritance of the black and white Shuangsha. And behind them are the two who harm the common people together. There is nothing special." Maybe I thought too much. Jian Wushuang shook his head. No problem can be seen on the surface of this iron face, but there is definitely some unknown power hidden inside. After his life force enters, there is a slight movement. Although the movement of Ukanshu, Kam was small, he could still feel it. It's just that now, he doesn't have the leisurely elegance to explore the real purpose of this mask or hide the strange things of life. He had to clean up the traces of this place with Gong Miaoi and then head to the only city in the Qingzhou mainland. "Let's go." Gong Miaoi nodded, followed behind Jian Wushuang, and headed to the only city on the Qingzhou mainland. Only through the residence of the Senate Palace can you go to the mine. The speed of the two is very fast, although they pretended to be the top emperor of Tier 4. But at the speed of the emperor of Tier 4, it took less than 3 days to reach that city. Qingzhou City. One black and one white, without any disguise. He entered the city blatantly. End of this chapter. Chapter 5540. Someone soon recognized the identities of the two. It's black and white double evil. Go away, don't get caught up. What are you afraid of? There is a strong man in the old palace here, and you are still afraid of the Emperor of the Magic Road? An emperor who understands black and white double evil said in a low voice, "You may not understand these two people. These two ruthless people are even the people of the Senate Palace who dare to kill. There is only one strong man stationed in the Senate Palace in Qingzhou City. Being a Tier 4 peak emperor, I can't hold these two people at all." Once the black and white double evil skills are displayed, they have the strength of the Fourth Order peak. It is true that he is not afraid of a Fourth Order emperor in the Yuan Elder Palace. In the Northern Territory, there are very few true senators. Most of them are emperors recruited from the Northern Territory by the Senator's Palace, with the status of deacon in the Outer Palace. The Fifth Order emperor is the identity of the Elder, the real veterans of the Senate Palace, but there are more than 2,000, and half of them are very high-ranking. They don't need to go to the northern border at all. Just stay in the Senate Palace. Unless there is something important, they will go to the northern border. Otherwise, half. Do not go out. Yuanyang Lake. So many treasures of cultivation who would go to the north to suffer. Jian Wushuang and Gong Miaoi came to the main hall where the Senate Palace is stationed in this city. There is no teleportation formation here, so it is very remote. It is very good to be able to arrange a Fourth Order peak emperor to sit in the town. If there is not a city, the Senate Palace, I didn't bother to be stationed. When they entered the city, the Fourth Order Pinnacle Emperor who was sitting here received the news and then opened the formation in shock and sent a call to the Law Enforcement Hall. At this time, I found that the black and white Shuangsha did not do anything but stood calmly in the temple without any intention to do it, and then dared to come forward. Black and white Shuangsha, why are you here? Don't you know the Law Enforcement Hall is looking for you? By Sha disguised as Gong Miaoi said indifferently, "We are going to the mine. I don't know if you can do it." Hearing that he was going to the mine, the Fourth Order Emperor immediately changed his face, and the formation was withdrawn. He leaked an amiable face and laughed. "Come on, please inside. Everything is easy to talk about, and also easy to handle." Jian Wushuang's disguised Haisha. usually didn't speak, but the iron face on his face was an imitation that he made casually, and he didn't want to take it rashly. Before he could figure out the situation, he had thrown the mask into the Guantian chessboard, using time and space to completely suppress the mask in time. Jian Wushuang was not surprised by the enthusiasm of the other party. He had known the mine in advance. It is difficult to recruit monarch-level absenteeism. Suddenly, 2 Tier 4 emperors came to take the initiative to mine, and they were still rushing to eliminate the wanted warrant. Not only did they help the law enforcement hall lighten the burden, but they also recruited a suitable miner. It was a double happiness. At least the emperor stationed here can stay away for a while. The deacons in the outer palace of the Senate Palace all have tasks. Not only the original salary is gone, but he has to get in. But even so, there are still people who want to have a mess in the Senate Palace. They are mainly backed by the Senate Palace. There will be no shortage of resources in all aspects. No one pays attention to the salary. For example, the 4th Order Emperor stationed here. He is the Earth Emperor of the Qingzhou mainland. As long as it is a practitioner who comes here, not only doing business, he can't get around him. After Jian Wushuang explained the situation, they waited for the wanted order from the law enforcement hall to arrive. Along with the wanted, there was a notice from Fu Shoutang. A 5th Order Emperor came to receive the 2 in person, although there was no teleportation array, but it didn't take long. The 5th Order Emperor had a flying palace that was eternally treasured. It's almost a year's time. After destroying the wanted warrant, they left Dongzhou with the 2 of them and went directly to a large state nearby that linked the mine. Northern Hanzhou. As soon as he entered, Jian Wushuang felt a chill. If the Qingzhou continent is like a hot summer day with fire burning the earth, then Hanzhou is in an icebound world. There is almost no dust on the ground where it touches, only extremely ice and thick snow. Snow is floating in the sky for many years. Here, you 2 take the token and follow these people to the mine. Remember not to disobey your orders. In the mine, there are many 6th Order emperors, and there is no freedom anywhere. Fu Shoutang's 5th Order Emperor, it was very easy to talk, and after explaining to them both, he left, under the mine. In the continuous team, there are hundreds of emperors alone, and both of them are 4th Order emperors, but they are also conspicuous because most of them are 3rd Order emperors here. More Dao Jun, the emperor is responsible for mining, and the Taoist is responsible for carrying. The ore that is dug is not simple. Space Fire Mingshi. Jian Wushuang's eyes were hot. The space firestone that rarely circulates in the 4 secret realms, but one day's mining here is enough. You know, in the outside world, a nail-sized firestone can sell hundreds of millions of square meters of sacred stone. There are already a lot of mines in one day. This is just one of the 3 big mines in the space Huamingshan. And this place is just a hole in the space Huaming Mountain. The infinite space Huaming Mountain has many cave openings. It's just that Hanzhou has only such a hole, a cave entrance. The daily amount of mining is one side. Countless years have passed. No one knows how many spatial firestones have been mined. This is the key treasure for refining and enhancing the divine body and the physical body. No matter how much it consumes, the amount of mining for so many years is enough to supply and demand the entire 4 secret realms. Jian Wushuang didn't know that the 3 mines in the 4 great secret realms were once plundered by the gods from the secret realms in the starry sky. In order to these mines, Qixin successively beheaded several universe masters. Even a special life bred from the starry sky has fallen. It's a pity that when these 3 mines were transported, the gods were about to fall, and they didn't come to rush to mine. It's cheaper than their inheritance. In the Senate Palace and the 2 Mountain, As long as they are inheritors, they can buy space firestones at very low prices. The refining of beasts, especially the refining of the space beasts, candle dragons, is in great need of the space firestone. This time, if there is a chance, he can plunder it. Anyway, it is for the true spirit to do something, and then the other party will never let him vomit it again. The Palace of the Elders, since controlling the mines, has been embezzling it. Zhenling opened one eye and closed one eye. He ignored it. He should be fine with a bit. Only those people like them dared to pay attention to the space, and Fire Mingxia, the native emperor, didn't even dare to look. After being mined, it will be handed in. Who dares to sneak it into the body? Once discovered, it is not as simple as a temporary execution. End of this chapter. Chapter 55-41. That was a felony. Not only will all those who have a relationship with him be put to death, but his origin will also be thrown into a prison of 10,000 fires and tortured for a lifetime. That kind of taste can be said to be extremely terrifying. Only this kind of iron-blooded means can be able to hold back those who have the idea of mining. When the temple controlled the Northern Territory, the management here was even stricter. The few people at the core of the White Tiger Palace are all puppets, but they want to satiate their own pockets. The people below don't even dare to be greedy. Only when the Senate Palace controls this place can they take advantage. It is the entrance of the two halls of the Senate Palace in charge of the mine. They are Fushaotang, which collects ore, and Zhenshintang, which is responsible for mining. Not only responsible for mining, but also responsible for guarding. Although there would not be a fool who was so courageous to rush to grab the mine, for safety reasons, especially for storing the mine doors, there are still several sixth-order emperors sitting here. And on the three major mines, there are 3 palace masters' law bodies, and each of them has the most powerful magic body sitting on the ground. Once something happens, there is also a special teleportation array that can let the deity descend at any time. The security is very high. Space Firestone is not an ordinary ore. The volume is too large. Ordinary mustard seeds cannot be stored and can only be placed in some treasured containers. Moreover, it cannot be transmitted through the teleportation array, and every requires a palace owner to him personally. It is shipped almost every 100,000 years. Jian Wushuang roughly calculated how many squares it would take in 100,000 years. There are millions of square space firestones at a time, and the value is probably more than 100,000 square cosmic crystals. Such a valuable treasure must be escorted by the most powerful person in person. The value of 100,000 square cosmic crystals, and if they are sold in batches, they may be more valuable. The most powerful among the indigenous people are worth a try. And this time, the pinnacle who escorted the space Fire Mingxia was the pro-big brother of the Iron Three, the Sword of Chongfeng, one of the 3 palace masters. The status is extremely high. Although the strength is at the end of the 3 major palace masters, the secrets of the universe have also been created by the Hinayana, and the strength cannot be underestimated. The indigenous people in the 4 secret realms have very few opponents. Now, the other party may have left long ago. Jian Wushuang didn't have anything to worry about either. The law bodies of those absolute peaks were all on the top of the mountain, and he would not pay attention to him as a 4th-order emperor. Gong Miaoi followed the team and began to enter the mine, outside the cave, for teams of powerhouses patrolled day and night. And the 4 great 6th-tier emperors led dozens of 5th-tier peak emperors. With this configuration, the indigenous powerhouses in the cold state could not be broken together. Even if it is a powerful shadow sect who wants to infiltrate, I am afraid that they will be discovered by the people in the law enforcement hall before they reach Hanzhou. Hey Sha, this is your mining tool, as well as this cloth bag. Put all the humiliation stones in the mining space. It will automatically record the ore you mine. Your goal is 10 squares. If you have enough, you can leave. Jian Wushuang nodded, did not say anything, holding a very straight stick-shaped treasure and a small cloth bag. He entered the mine. I will live here in the days to come. If you want to go out, you need to mine enough space for the firestone. The wanted order sent by the law enforcement hall at the time calculated that he had to mine the space firestone in 10 directions to cancel the wanted order. This is Jian Wushuang giving up the mining reward. If you want to get that reward, you need 15 squares of space firestone. Naturally, he didn't pay attention to that reward. He came here mainly to rescue Nie Yuan. He passed Wu's rotation behind his back. And the two arrived at was the mine where Nie Yuan was located. Saving people is only part of the plan. He wasn't to the point where he had to be saved. If the people of the Shadow Sect found him and wanted to take him to see Fuego, he would just quit and just follow them. Unfortunately, for so long, he also left a lot of clues, but there is still no one who has waited for the Shadow Sect. When he was in Giant Gate City, he left some clues, and when he killed that ridiculous ancient flood dragon, he left behind a very heavy power of all things. According to the means of the gods, he should be able to be found. Follow the mine all the way down. The top of the mountain has long been mined, and now only square ore is left unmined. And the top is only 10%. The real core of the mine is underground. The figure was straight down about a distance of hundreds of thousands of miles before he sank down. The material here is very dense. Even if the Emperor wants to destroy it, he still spends a lot of effort. As for mining, it is not simple. Otherwise, there will be no treasures specially mined. That stick is used to ingest the space firestone. You need to use your own power to mobilize the treasure and then ingest it. This process is easy to say, but it is like a big battle every day if it is to be mined. This is also the reason why few emperors come to mine mines. The consumption of consciousness and power is too serious, and it will last for hundreds of millions of years without any help to oneself, and the whole person is still drained. Although the rewards are very generous, it is too trivial to look back at a mine of infinite value every day, and many people will feel unbalanced in their hearts. So, over time, fewer and fewer people came. Here, this is where we usually rest. Gong Miaoi walked in the forefront and stopped. Jian Wushuang followed her gaze, and in front of her was an extremely empty place with a simple dojo. The origin contained in the above is very profound, and it should be the method that was set up here to specifically help them in their cultivation. Jian Wushuang glanced intently, and this image had a blue dragon beast head. Long Yi. This was very surprised. He didn't expect to see the face of the Azure Dragon Palace master here. This may be the dojo where the temple was once set up here. Otherwise, it would not be so deducted and use one's own law. If it were the rich and powerful veteran palace, it would be possible to directly obtain a master of the universe in order to recruit the emperor of the mining mountain. Dharma images are very easy to refine. Yu reads www.ukanshu.com and then obtains the origin of the universe, and then it can create a simple dojo at the master level of the universe. It's not like it is now, so shabby. Below the law, there are countless futons. On both sides of the dojo, there are some simple palaces with trading places. Another advantage here is that it is very convenient to buy any treasure. In order to give these people some motivation, the ore mined every year has a goal. In 1 year, everyone needs to mine a pound of space flint, and the extra can be exchanged for credit points, and it can also be accumulated in their mission goals. In one side is 100,000 caddies. If Jian Wushuang reached the goal, every year it would take 1,000,000 years before he could go out. but it is too difficult to mine 1 caddy a year. End of this chapter. Chapter 5542, Below the Fifth Order Emperor. If you want to complete it, some are not possible, some are unlucky, and you won't be able to mine a caddy in 100 years. In the later stage, the strength will weaken, let alone a caddy a year. A caddy for 1,000 years has become a huge goal. Most of those transactions are exchanged for treasures with their own pockets. Don't deliberately inquire about the news. Let's explore here for a while. Jian Wushuang whispered quietly. He saw the change in Gong Miaoya's expression, worried that the other party would leak his feet. If it is recognized at this time, it will be troublesome. Gong Miaoya recovered a trace of coldness and nodded. The two first took the tokens, and after they received a secret room of their own, they began mining. Starting from the dojo, they can move freely. In order to find out the situation here as quickly as possible, the two chose to move separately. Jian Wushuang entered a small and dark mine. There are many such small mines here, all of which are left by predecessors who have mined countless epochs. Jian Wushuang plunged in. After a few glances, no one was seen. Then continue to move forward. This place is like a maze, where an intersection will appear from time to time, and Jian Wushuang walked for an hour before he reached the end. At the end, there were 3 people who were manipulating the treasure to mine ore, and their brows rose. Jian Wushuang glanced at them. They were all Tier 4 emperors, but the gods were extremely thin, and their flesh was sallow. That's a bit more human. Just as Jian Wushuang sighed, a palm appeared on his shoulder. "It's you, Haisha." The visitor recognized his identity. Jian Wushuang was shocked. Many of Haisha's memories were broken. He was worried about revealing his identity and did not answer. When he turned his head and saw the face of the opponent, his heart was relieved. "It's good to know. Brother Xiangyang." Jian Wushuang pretended to be surprised. "Why are you here too?" "Ha, you are here. Why can't I come?" Xiangyang smiled and said, "Walk. This is not a place to talk. Don't worry about mining. There is time. I will introduce a few good brothers to you." This Xiangyang Taoist is very enthusiastic. The two can be regarded as acquaintances, and they have joined forces several times when they were besieged by the right way. They are all devil's practitioners. It's just black and white double evil spirits, gathering evil spirits, cutting all directions. The Xiangyang Taoist was once a disciple of the Huan Gate. The Huan Gate in the back was broken, and he became a casual cultivator. Because he had been plundering the best furnace, he was quickly spotted by the righteous masters. In a siege, black and white Shuangsha also rescued him once. Xiangyang took Jian Wushuang to a relatively open place where several people were mining, and among them there were 2 fifth-order emperors. "Come on, Haisha, let me introduce to you. This is the Lord of the Wind City." While introducing him, he boasted, "The Lord of the Wind City came earlier than us, but the mining mines are about to come out." The Lord of the Wind City is a handsome man with sword eyebrows and stars. The younger generation is straight and heroic. "Hey Sha, I have seen the Lord of Wind City." Jian Wushuang also understood very well. This is to bring him to the dock. It seems that this place is not that simple. Where there are people, there will be fights, and there will be rivers and lakes. Invisible, although there is no fighting, but there is a sense of worldliness. You need to make friends wherever you go. There are more roads when you have friends. Well, I've heard of you, so follow me in the future. There is still a place here, and you can mine with Xiangyang. The Lord Feng nodded, and then ignored Jian Wushuang. Xiangyang hurriedly helped Jian Wushuang thank him, and then took Jian Wushuang to the corner to start mining the mine. "Brother Haisha, there are some things that you don't know yet. In a mine, if you want to quickly mine ores, you need to occupy a favorable terrain. You see, this place is at least 3 times more than where you were just now. Your mining speed will also be faster. Shangyang explained. Jian Wushuang also understood. No wonder he brought him to visit the dock and recognize his eldest brother. It turned out to be for this reason. In the mine, the ore content is not uniform. There are more in some places and less in some places. The place he just saw belongs to the lowest level mine. This is considered to be a medium level. As for the upper level, it was occupied by those fifth-order emperors. Want to go to that place? At least have the fighting power of a fifth-order emperor. Someone needs to be introduced. Jian Wushuang didn't really care about it, but since it's here, the secret rules still have to be observed. It's better to get into trouble, and there is a risk of exposure. Work hard. We are just here. We will mine a caddy in a year. Shangyang is full of enthusiasm. He is not easy with Jian Wushuang. He was arrested, and he needed to mine the Firestone in 20 square space, and the fastest speed would take tens of thousands of years. Compared with some practitioners who have been sentenced to 100 or even 10,000 directions, there are very few practitioners. As for Jian Wushuang's Shifang, it is even less pitiful. Jian Wushuang injected a trace of the dark way into the supreme treasure, and then he felt the power of a spatial fire dark stone began to enter this supreme treasure. It's interesting. Jian Wushuang raised his eyebrows. He instantly discovered the principle of this. This treasure is called a mining soldier. It is really the best choice for mining. There is actually the power of a black hole inside, which can swallow all matter and can also wipe out all matter. It can be seen by the naked eye that all the space firestone and other substances on the stone wall are swallowed, and then the debris is removed, leaving only the space firestone particles. Those particles are very small. As for the power consumed by oneself, if calculated according to the ordinary fourth-order emperors of the 4 great secret realms, it would indeed take a year to devour a pound of space firestone. But that is in a state of not resting. At the beginning, it can indeed be swallowed continuously, let alone a year. It will be fine without stopping for 100 years, but in the later stage, it will take a few years to cultivate for a period of time. A lot of time will be wasted in the middle. This also caused many emperors to wear down their consciousness, and even a pound of space firestone could not be mined in 100 years. According to the news he got from Wuzhou, Nie Yuan has been here for 50,000 years. Nie Yuan was sent to the mine because he offended the Shao family in Hanzhou. Ashu. The Shao family is a superpower that has emerged in recent years, and the reason is still because of a son-in-law of the Shao family. This son-in-law's background is not small. Jian Wushuang was surprised when he knew it. Wushan's deputy hall master, a deputy head of the law enforcement hall, was actually willing to join an aboriginal emperor family. The Shao family was originally a famous sect, but it could only be regarded as a superpower in Hanzhou. With Wushan's influence behind, it could become a superpower in the Northern Territory. With this level of relationship, the Shao family can walk sideways across the entire northern border. Nie Yuan was also unlucky. He brought his disciples to Hanzhou for meditation. The enchantment disciple provokes a child of the Shao family, who is regarded as Wushan's brother-in-law. The other party saw Nie Yuan's disciple Qing Luo at a glance. Chapter 5543. With Nie Yuan's nature, it would be good if he didn't kill the other party. If he really wanted to kill, I'm afraid he would also fall away now. He just abolished the other party's cultivation base and let Wushan's brother-in-law leave. People from the law enforcement hall personally arrested Nie Yuan, and the disciple was sent to Shao's house. Hearing that Nie Yuan is now even more melancholy. In the early years, the Taoist couple fell pregnant while pregnant, and the disciple was looted by the stubborn ones. and he was trapped in the mine. Moreover, Nye Yuan's mission is a 10,000 square meter space firestone, and it is difficult to get out in a few eras. However, Nye Yuan's perseverance is very strong. Now, he has dug a party for 50,000 years. Hard work. Jian Wushuang couldn't help sighing. Fortunately, his daughter is still alive, and there is no need to reverse time and space. And Gong Miaoya's strength is very good. After this time, he can recommend it to the Tomb Mountain. Although he hadn't been there himself, as long as Fuigo's scourge was solved, Zhenling should give him face. Moreover, the future temple of the gods, all belonged to him. A place in the Tomb God Mountain, nothing more, a trivial matter. While digging, Jian Wushuang had a relationship with the two Fifth-Order Emperors, mentioning the Fifth-Order Emperors in the mine from time to time. Seeing that Jian Wushuang was very on the road, Feng Cheng, master, deliberately handed some spatial fire mixture into his hand. He was happy in his heart, and he was willing to talk about it. The mine we are in is called Qiankuan Cave. There used to be a big man, the second ancestor of the Shao family, the ancestor of the Taoist named Qiankuan. In the Temple era, he once was here to supervise the mining of mining mountains. It took 3 epochs to open up this universe cave mansion. The Lord of the Wind City looked yearning. To be able to open up a mine, it is a great achievement. No wonder the Shao family can dominate Hanzhou. This is only the second ancestor. That first ancestor can pay it off. In addition, Wushan is a big backer, and it is comparable to the Nalan family of the land boundary, a digital 6-level land boundary, and the supreme ancestor. It's a pity that the Nalan family was too rampant and was destroyed by the palace Master Qinglong. The Shao family can always be safe. With the great Buddha of Wushan, no one dares to move the Shao family. The Northern Territory, speaking of it, is the back garden of the Law Enforcement Hall, with too much power. The entrances of the Senate's halls only rob treasures, but don't care about the chassis, so the Law Enforcement Hall is dominated. Anyone or things that are in contact with the Law Enforcement Hall can walk sideways. Many inheritors are also willing to accept some of the missions of the Law Enforcement Hall. Even if they cannot be completed, there will be no danger. Those demon Dao monarchs dared to kill the external deacons of the Senate Palace, but did not dare to kill some of the deacons in the Law Enforcement Hall. Once they were killed, they would be on the kill list. If it is a Fourth-Order Emperor, the Fifth-Order Emperor will be dispatched to chase and kill, and the Fifth-Order Emperor will dispatch a Sixth-Order Emperor. If it is a Sixth-Order Emperor, Wuzhu will personally take action. With this kind of iron and blood, no one dared to offend people in the Law Enforcement Hall. The Shao family is indeed not simple, its own strength is not weak, and even on the big ship of the deputy head of the Law Enforcement Hall, it will not fall at all. After chatting with that Fengcheng master for a while, Jian Wushuang began to mention the Shao family intentionally or unintentionally, the Lord of the Wind City side. People in the world say that we are practitioners of the magic way, but those righteous Wei families are clean. I can't see it. That, Jian Wushuang said, it's just the reason for standing in line. If there is some relationship with the Law Enforcement Hall, I'm afraid I won't be in such a place. Thanks. It's good to understand early. If the water in the north is not deep or shallow, I will leave the north when I get out of the mine. This place is not suitable for trespassing. The family is the only one, and there is no chance for me to wait. The Shao family went to be a dog with the Law Enforcement Hall like that. The Lord of the Wind City had unwillingness in his voice. In the area where the temple is located, there is at least a balance between righteousness and evil. There is no such overwhelming power, and the temple is relatively fair. But the north is different. Jian Wushuang pretended not to open his mouth and asked, "How can you see the words of the city lord?" "Shao family?" Feng's city master sneered. "If it was before, I still admire it a little, but now I've already caused anger and resentment. You should know that the eldest lady of the Xiao family, she is the eldest lady of Hall Master Wushan, one of the 2 deputy hall masters of the law enforcement hall. Jian Wushuang nodded and replied, I know this, but it doesn't seem to be the direct line of the Xiao family. It is indeed not a direct line, but after Wushan is on the list, it is not a direct line, but also a direct line. Even her family has become a direct line. What her younger brother does is no different from the magic way, but has always been at large, said and shook his head. The things that the Xiao family did, even the cultivators of the magic way couldn't stand it anymore. It was indeed outrageous. The Lord of the Wind City seemed a little tired, put away the mining soldiers, found a clean place to sit down, and then took out a strange stick that was rolled up with good fruit leaves. His nails raised a ball of flames, and directly blasted it. Ignite! Call! After taking a sharp sip, Feng's city lord handed Jian Wushuang and said, Let's take a couple of mouthfuls. Jian Wushuang waved his hand. He had never been interested in this special hobby, but took out a small square table and made a pot of tea. The 2 were at ease when they tasted tea. Under his constant temptation, City Lord Wind finally talked about Nie Yuan. Although he already knows the general idea, he still knows very little about the details. It turned out that at the beginning, Nie Yuan not only abolished the brother-in-law of the deputy hall master of Wushan, but also fought against the contemporary family of the Xiao family. The contemporary family of the Xiao family is also a highly prestigious 5th-order peak emperor who fought with Nie Yuan quite a bit. Although his family was abolished, the Xiao family had long been unable to pass it, so they didn't embarrass Nie Yuan and let them go. However, Xiao Feng was reluctant and unforgiving. Okanshu went to the sister's side to complain, and used the power of the law enforcement hall to suppress Nie Yuan. Nie Yuan's disciples were also taken away. It's sad to say that the patriarch of his own family didn't want to take care of this matter. If it weren't for Wushan's reasons, he wouldn't even make a move, and Nie Yuan was let go afterwards. Helplessly, the power of the law enforcement hall was too strong, and directly dispatched a 6th-order emperor to suppress Nie Yuan. It was precisely because of this incident that the master of the Wind City was completely disappointed in the north, and he was ready to leave after leaving the mine. Jian Wushuang sighed and said, Nie Yuan and the contemporary patriarch of the Xiao family are worthy of the right way, and I admire them very much. I also admire it very much. I heard that Nie Yuan is still very young and used to be the sword chief of the Shangqing Palace. It's just a pity. If the Shangqing Palace is still there, I'm afraid it won't be like this. The Lord of the Wind City continued, By the way, Nie Yuan will often practice in front of the dragon, and I will recommend it for you when I have time. He is not too hostile to our demon cultivators. Chapter 55-44. Oh, Jian Wushuang raised his eyebrows and said excitedly, Then thank you, City Lord. Small things. The 2 got up and continued mining. Jian Wushuang didn't leave in a hurry to find Nie Yuan. The place was huge, and the small hole was like a hornet's nest. It was not easy to find Nie Yuan, and going to Nie Yuan at this time will definitely reveal his identity. His 2 clones have been discovered, and Deputy Hall Master Zhong is probably looking for him frantically at this time. And this place is the chassis of Wushan's Deputy Hall Master. I am afraid that a net of heaven and earth has long been laid. If there is a suspicious person around Nie Yuan, he will definitely think of him. He had already told Gong Miaoi about this. Don't worry. Be patient. At least wait for the gods to contact him secretly before breaking the jar. Only with the help of the gods can we fight against the strong who sit here. The deity of the 3 major palace masters can come at any time, and the gods really want to take him. unless Fuego is allowed to come in person. At that time, everything was handed over to the true spirit, and he was considered to have completed the task. Unfortunately, everything is not that simple. Hanzhou Jingguang City, inside a mansion of the Xiao family. Ha, Brother Zhong, I heard that you took the air in Dongzhou. Wu Shan was sitting in the main seat, and there was a beautiful woman beside her. She was overwhelmed by her every move. It was the Xiao family who made Wu Shan's family. Mississippi Deputy Hall Master Zhong, his expression unchanged when he heard Wu Shan's ridicule. He just took a sip of tea and said calmly, Wu Shan, don't talk cold words. I am different from you. Jian Wu Shuang, I must catch it. Thanks, Tusk. It sounds like I didn't work hard. Wu Shan sneered and shook his head. Although the two have never circumvented anyone, the relationship is not usually subtle. Wu Shan's original companion, the elder sister of the Deputy Hall Master Zhong, was just that the older sister died because of the construction of the Temple of Qixin in ancient times. Otherwise, Wu Shan dared to marry his little wife. He would have to smash the other's head. Even if my sister is gone now, it is very uncomfortable to see that Wu Shan has a new love. In the mine, how is it now? Deputy Hall Master Zhong turned to the topic. In his opinion, Jian Wushuang had entered the mine 80%, and it was probably the Huaming Mountain enhance his space. Wu Shan took out a jade slip from the mustard seeds, handed it over, and said, This is the list of personnel who have just entered the mine recently. I am going to take them all, not one. In the 10 years or so, about tens of thousands of people entered the Huaming Mountain in space, among which there were 1,242 emperors. Almost all the rest are Taoists. Although Deputy Hall Master Zhong has very hard means, his heart is ruthless. But because Jian Wushuang directly killed all these people, he still had some scruples. It is not because of soft heart, but because of the honor of the law enforcement hall. He is a little different from Wu Shan. That is, he will never humiliate the reputation of the law enforcement hall. All these people were killed. How should I explain? We can't announce to the public, I would rather kill 10,000 by mistake than let one go. At that time, I am afraid that some people with ulterior motives will follow the gourd to draw a scoop, and all of them have done this. What is the difference between their law enforcement hall and the magic way? Let's watch the tide in secret. Deputy Hall Master Zhong stood up, walked straight out, and said as he walked, Don't underestimate Jian Wushuang. His body is very special. Maybe he has changed his identity. Sitting on the main seat, Wu Shan froze for a moment and said in surprise, It's not so evil, right? There is the origin of the universe in the mine that is monitoring everything. Can he block this? Nothing is impossible. Don't forget, he is just a Taoist. Deputy Hall Master Zhong left this sentence and then left Jingguang City with someone. He is not as leisurely as Wu Shan. Since it can't be found, then kill the chicken to get the eggs, and first go to control Nie Yuan. After receiving Tai San's fall, the sword Changfeng learned that Jian Wushuang had also taken Gong Miaoy away, so he guessed that Jian Wushuang would definitely go to the mine to rescue Gong Miaoy's father. He directly notified Deputy Hall Master Zhong. It's just that this matter is under the supervision of the law enforcement hall. Even if he is the palace owner, he can't intervene. The younger brother was killed, and the Taoist companion was robbed. This is an unshakable hatred. I can bear it without committing suicide. Inside the mine, Deputy Hall Master Zhong guessed very accurately, Jian Wushuang really planned to change his identity at this time. That Wind Castle Master is very suitable. He confided a lot of words from the opponent, and now he was short of a chance to obliterate the opponent in an instant. This place has a very strong power of rules, and Jian Wushuang is not easy to start for a while. In a blink of an eye, 10 years passed, and these people began to return, ready to go back and fix it, and continuous mining is too much to bear. The master of the Wind City received the goods very well this time, with a total of tens of kilograms. Not only did he complete the target task, he also got some credit. Now, Jian Wushuang could be regarded as following the other party and naturally left together. At the same time, he also transmitted to Gong Miaoyi and asked her to come together. At this time, you can't go to Nie Yuan to recognize his father, or he will be found out by the law enforcement hall, and everything will be over. Gong Miaoyi was waiting there when he returned to the Longxiang dojo. Wind City Lord, let me introduce to you. This is my Taoist companion, Bai Sha. Jian Wushuang walked in front, pulled Gong Miaoyi over, and introduced her to the Wind City Lord. The Lord of the Wind City leaked a smile and exclaimed, "Well, yes, no wonder you two can make some famous names in the Northwest area, and you are almost reaching the top of Tier 4 in strength. Work hard." The two thanked them, and then followed Fengcheng Master to hand in the space Huamingshi. The place where the Spacefire Underworld Stone is delivered is a weak black hole. You only need to throw the Mind Space Underworld Stone into it, and then the amount will appear on your token. This black hole can only be thrown in, but cannot be taken out in one direction. No one knows where the black hole is connected, only that some emperors who can't stand it will jump in when they want to escape from here. Second, the corpse of the sky will hang next to the dragon. Jian Wushuang, who was still paying attention to space Huamingshi, also gave up. It's impossible at all. His little tricks are not enough. What he thought was too simple. This is not the treasure house of Xianyuan family. This is one of the most important treasures of the 4 secret realms. How could it be so easy to get in? After delivering all the space firestones, the few people dispersed separately, agreed on the time for the next mining, and returned to their own secret rooms. In fact, it is relatively free here. You can also choose not to mine, but not to mine means that you will never be able to go out. Jian Wushuang and Gong Miaoyi entered the same secret room, and then set up an enchantment. This was not over yet. Jian Wushuang's thought power penetrated into Gong Miaoyi's origin. The two sat opposite each other in the source and began to talk about what they had inquired about. End of this chapter. Chapter 55:45. I saw my father. Gong Miaoyi's complexion was a little pale, and when he said this, there was no trace of excitement, but rather depressed. Jian Wushuang didn't ask about Nie Yuan's affairs, but cared. What's wrong? Speaking of holding the opponent's hand, his eyes were very gentle. Those bastards, they actually made things difficult for my father. Gong Miaoyi's eyes instantly turned red. When she saw Nie Yuan, she felt sad. That Nie Yuan needs to mine in order to go out is an astronomical number, and it can't be done without a few epochs. But even so, there are still some people who deliberately make things difficult for Nie Yuan. According to common sense, Nie Yuan is also the 5th Order Peak Emperor, and few people dare to fight Nie Yuan's attention. Except for those emperors who mine ores, the rest are those guards. Since Jian Wushuang came in, he had only seen a few guards from a distance. All of them were Tier 4 monarchs, but they had special spirit rings in their hands linked to some vicious emperors and could subdue each other at any time. Like the Black and White Shuangsha, the demon cultivator, who came in on the initiative, would not be brought into the spirit ring. But those who are caught are not so lucky. Not only will they have the balance of spirit ring, they will even be forced to mine ores. But even so, as long as the mining is honest, the general guards will not suppress these people at will. It seems that someone behind the scenes made a move deliberately to make things difficult for Nie Yuan. Jian Wushuang patted Gong Miaoyi on the shoulder and comforted, "Don't worry, it won't be long before we can go out together." To say so, he is not sure at all in his heart. The gods have been slow to contact him, and don't know if the other party didn't care about him at all or didn't worry about him. His power has undergone a qualitative change, and the power of life has been formed. This power is known to the dome. If he is connected with the dome, he must know his special place. He is now completely able to help Fuego recover to the top. This is a huge temptation. There is only this opportunity. Once he succeeds in harmony, he will soon be able to enter the ranks of the top. At that time, it will be difficult to catch him. Too much. Jian Wushuang sighed in his heart, still worried. His journey has indeed gone smoothly. He had known it a long time ago and deliberately had a battle with Deputy Hall Master Zhong and others. But in that case, if he was not careful, he would have finished playing, and he would be escorted to the Senate Palace again. When he was suppressed by the law enforcement hall, it was just a small fight. This time he was caught back, but it was not a small fight. I am afraid that even acting, he will be sent to prison in a certain time and space. Otherwise, the gods will definitely be suspicious. If that were the case, the plan would have failed. He doesn't know what the gods are doing now, but the law enforcement hall has already begun to work in the mine. There was news from Wuzhua just now that Wu Shan had passed up the list of personnel who had entered the mine for nearly 10 years and was requesting that all these people be killed. Wuzhua meant to change his status. These people must be killed. Reluctant to bear children can't catch wolves. At that time, he will arrange for an unwarranted charge to be executed in secret. It will not be announced directly to the outside world, but it will let the gods know about it. After all, this is also for the other person. After comforting Gong Miaoi, Jian Wushuang announced his plan to change his status. The target is those people of Wind Castle Master. Gong Miaoi has no opinion on this. Now, as long as it is the father who can rescue her, anything is fine. Then Jian Wushuang left Gong Miaoi's secret room. After returning to his secret room, Jian Wushuang began to talk to Wuzhua about Nie Yuan. See if you can find some breakthrough points from the opponent, killing a group of emperors and princes who have just arrived in the mine. This bargaining chip is a bit small. Nie Yuan was a good bargaining chip, but Jian Wushuang emphasized that he wanted to save the opponent's life. Can't unload the mill and kill the donkey. Although he was only acting with Gong Miaoi, he didn't want to use the other party and killed her father. This matter is too wicked. Even if he doesn't value the luck of becoming an emperor, but for the sake of his reputation, he still has a bottom line. But he didn't know that Gong Miaoi now had no bottom line in order to rescue his father, and his so-called guarding bottom line has become very funny. After Jian Wushuang left, a grimace appeared in Gong Miaoi's blood Luo Jing. That is her ultimate eternal treasure. At the beginning, even Triathlon was very jealous when he saw it. The ultimate eternal treasure. It is rare, and few people of the Sixth Order Emperor have it, generally in the hands of Juding. Even if Tai San is in a high position and worth a lot of money, there is no ultimate eternal treasure. What I use on my body is just a set of top eternal treasures, the ultimate eternal treasure. It is the ultimate treasure that cannot be found. You can't buy it if you want to buy it. Most of the ultimate eternal treasures in the 4 secret realms are owned by the owner. The number in the hands of the Sixth Order Emperor does not exceed the number of one hand, and the rest are in the hands of Absolute Top. Of course, there are still a lot of eternal treasures in the Qixin Temple, but they are all in the Vermilion Bird Temple, and generally they will not be taken out. It is impossible to buy, especially the veterans of the Senate Palace. Those top eternal treasures are reserved for inheritors. If the inheritors want to get it, they need to make great efforts. Gong Miaoi was able to obtain this supreme eternal treasure at the beginning. It can be said that luck is against the sky. Among them, there has long been a deity's arrangement, and now it appears to be useful. The face of Grimace is very ugly. If Jian Wushuang sees it, it will be easy to find that the owner of that face is a god. Jie, Gong Miaoi respectfully bows down. Silly girl, you were deceived. You are just in the hands of Jian Wushuang and Wu Zhua. Do you really think Jian Wushuang will help you? They began to induce. In fact, what was said was the truth, and even showed evidence. The rules here can't affect me. Let you see how your lover told Wu Zhua. The grimace trembled, and then turned into a starry sky scene. In the starry sky, there were two consciousnesses, which was exactly the scene where Jian Wushuang had just talked with Wu Zhua, although I can't hear what they are talking about. But this is enough to show that everything is an illusion. Robbery, snatching relatives, and fleeing, all fake. Gong Miaoya's eyes trembled, and her lips turned pale. Ever since she escaped from the Yuan's palace with Jian Wushuang, this grimace has been following her, constantly inducing her. But she never believed that this time when the other party appeared, she originally wanted to ask the other party to save her father, but she saw the scene before her. Fake, Gong Miaoi muttered. This blow still hurt her a bit. Originally, she was about to completely believe in Jian Wushuang, but now that she learned the true thoughts of the other party, she didn't know whether it was sad or happy. End of this chapter. Chapter 55-46. Sadness and joy are indescribable feelings. If she had seen Jian Wushuang's wolf ambition clearly, it would be a happy event. Sadly, she was already tempted. She even imagined that she rescued her father and lived the life of the three together. All this turned into a bubble. Gong Miaoi crouched on the ground, paused, and then respectfully said, I also ask Senior to help the junior rescue his father. I am willing to do everything. Okay, as long as you agree, those who make things difficult for your father will disappear immediately. They was overjoyed. The investment in Gong Miaoi finally saw a return. The guidance along the way has now been completely won. He really valued Jian Wushuang, especially after Jian Wushuang discovered the giant egg. He began to plan how to catch Jian Wushuang. Unexpectedly, this time it could be delivered to his mouth. Want to calculate me? The spirit leaked a sneer. It's far worse. He is a god, an omnipotent god. Although trapped in the first prison, there is always his shadow in the four secret realms. Little girl, you only need to put these 6 spirit flags into the 6 designated places. When I grab Jian Wushuang, I will send you and Nie Yuan to the realm where someone will shelter your father and daughter. 2. The said sincerely. Gong Miaoi had no choice. She didn't want to wait any longer. Besides, who knew that Jian Wushuang had thought about saving her father? Everything is a chess piece. Maybe she will be abandoned if she is used up. After Gong Miaoi put away the 6 soul flags, the grimace disappeared. Before disappearing, they did not forget to remind. Remember, don't believe anything about Jian Wushuang. He is a complete liar. Others don't know, but the gods are very aware of the nasty things Jian Wushuang has done. On the other side, Jian Wushuang just broke the sound transmission with Wu Zhua, and he sneezed, always feeling obedient there, and his mind was a little turbulent. Could it be that the gods noticed me? Jian Wushuang muttered to himself. It is really possible. He had asked Wu Zhua to find a way to contact Nie Yuan, and wanted the other party to cooperate with them. Now, there is only such a way. You cannot kill, can only win each other. In the corner of the mine, the guards around Nie Yuan suddenly dispersed for some reason, and were not going to make things difficult for Nie Yuan. Nie Yuan was surprised at this, but didn't think much about it. His will was very firm, and he must go out from here. He also had to go to the Tomb Mountain, where he could reverse the time and space to revive his Taoist companion. But at this moment, a consciousness entered his body. Nie Yuan. The voice is very familiar to Jian Wushuang, and Zhang Wuzhua personally transmits it. At present, only 3 people know about this matter, and Nie Yuan is now the 4th. The first three, Zhanling Wuzhua and Jian Wushuang, joined forces, and the entire temple of Qixin was in danger of destruction. Nie Yuan, a fifth-order emperor, was very lucky to be able to know such top-secret things, and it was still a matter of safety with the Qixin temple. This time, as long as the plan is successful, the resuscitation of his Taoist companion will be a trivial matter. Don't just revive a person. Those emperors who have fallen in the four secret realms can all be revitalized. Unless it is the collapse of the mind and consciousness, it can be resurrected. True spirit has this method. It is easy to resurrect a fourth-order emperor. Gong Miaoya's mother was just a fourth-order peak emperor and could not consume much power from the Sea of Origin. When Nie Yuan heard the voice in his mind, the whole person was stunned. He thought he had auditory hallucinations. He was shocked. The emperor and the strong man appeared auditory hallucinations. This was probably because his mind was fragile. It's a dying performance. There are still many things he has not done. How dare to die? And there is still no epic since he was born. How could his mind and consciousness show signs of weakness? Don't be surprised. From the Senate Palace, not named Wuzhua, Nie Yuan was a little surprised when he heard that it was from the Yuan Palace, and then a little angry. He was murdered by the people in the Senate Palace. Now that his apprentices are still robbed, he hates the Senate Palace, especially the people in the law enforcement hall, for a long time. Wuzhua. Nie Yuan didn't answer yet, but he remembered the name of this familiar and terrifying person. Wuzhua? This name is very resounding in the Northern Realm, or in the entire Celestial Realm. If the two deputy heads of the law enforcement hall are two executioners, then Wuzhua is the Yama who judges sentient beings. Not to mention how horrible the other party is, just why Wuzhua would look for him. This is a very delicate question. But Wuzhua didn't give Nie Yuan a chance to speak at all. For Wuzhua, the other party was a small person. If Jian Wushuang wanted to protect him, he would be lazy to find an indigenous emperor to explain. Everything I say next, you must listen clearly. Don't ask, don't have any doubts. You just need to do what I say. Wuzhua's tone is very domineering. Nie Yuan didn't want to take this set, and immediately replied, Don't say you are Wuzhua. You are the palace lord of the Yuan, Lao Palace. No matter right or wrong, it is no different from the magic way. Don't talk about it. I have everything won't agree. When these words were said, it was Wuzhua's turn to be surprised. When did an indigenous emperor dare to talk to him like this? Don't you be afraid. He is Wuzhua, the hall master of the law enforcement hall, a disciple of the gods, the pinnacle of existence, and the three major palace masters are not his opponents. Had it not been for the fact that the Senate Palace was a true spirit's personal power, he would have beaten the three palace masters in turn. It was just three slaves who had been looted and built the temple of Qixin. How could they have the right to sit on an equal footing with him, let alone, now that he is not qualified to sit on an equal footing? This is the most hateful. If he had the temper in the past, he would not bother to enter the Senate Palace, but now, because of the appearance of the true spirit, he has deprived him of his discipleship. Otherwise, he wouldn't be in the same relationship with those in the Senate Palace. Now, he was scolded by an indigenous emperor, and he still didn't know how to answer the other party. This is the most aggrieved. Had it not been for Jian Wushuang's face, he would have pinched Nie Yuan to death. For the sake of big plans, for the sake of the overall situation. Can only bear it. Listen, Nie Yuan, the next thing is related to your daughter. Wuzhua's voice sank. Then he concealed part of the plan slightly and told Nie Yuan. Particular mention is made of Gong Miaoyi. Nie Yuan was completely stunned. His daughter is still alive, and it's in this mine. Daughter. There was a hint of warmth from the bottom of my lonely heart. His daughter is still alive, but her mother has fallen. But Wuzwa also promised him that as long as he cooperates, not only can he get out from here, but he can also go directly to the Tomb Mountain and resurrect his Taoist companion. Chapter 55-47. The previously slim chance of hope is now in sight. How could Nye Yuan let it go? And immediately agreed. At this time, Jian Wushuang followed Fengqing Master, and others towards the place where the ore was originally mined. This time, we will take 10 years as a time limit. We will take a break every 10 years. We will be free after a short period of time. The Wind City Lord chuckled, and the group was very motivated. Jian Wushuang blended into it, and he was also looking forward to it. But Gong Miaoi was a little uneasy. When looking at Jian Wushuang, his eyes also changed. It's just that Jian Wushuang's mind doesn't know Gong Miaoi's body now, and he hasn't found it. After going to the mine, a few people started mining silently. Gong Miaoi found a remote corner to mine alone. Mining the magic weapon, within a month, a small hole can be made in the rock wall. Gong Miaoi buried the soul flag in it. Only in this mine, there is only one location designated by the gods. For the remaining locations, you need to go to other places. In order to prevent outsiders from doubting, Gong Miaoi said to Jian Wushuang, "I'll go and see elsewhere. You don't have to worry about me." Jian Wushuang knew what she was thinking about. She must be worried about Nye Yuan, and didn't doubt it, just nodded to remind the other party to be careful. Gong Miaoi was disdainful in his heart. Jian Wushuang's concern now seemed disgusting to her. Without a trace of true feelings, everything is calculated. Mouthful of benevolence, justice, and morality, full of wickedness in the belly. After Gong Miaoi left, Jian Wushuang received Wuzwa's transmission again, and Nye Yuan had already arranged it. The drama of father and daughter recognizing each other is about to be staged. But in advance, Wuzwa had arranged for Nye Yuan to arrange a large formation, and it would not be easy for the people in the law enforcement hall to win them. I hope that the gods will end in the hands of the match. Otherwise, the plan will be ruined this time. They only have a quarter of an hour. There are only 3 sixth-order emperors here. They are all native emperors. With average strength, he can deal with it alone, as long as there is a 6th-order peak emperor from the outside world. And he is also the veteran of the Senate Palace. This one will be there within 3 breaths. As for the law bodies of the 3 palace masters, it is the palace master Lu Hua who sits here. Although Jian Wushuang is already wanted on the face of it, he will not be too ruthless, and it will definitely be delayed for a while. Moreover, this matter is being handled by the enforcement hall. As long as it does not threaten the mine, it should not take action. It's the people from the law enforcement hall who will arrive in a quarter of an hour. Everything is within this quarter of an hour. If the gods are really unprepared for anything, then they can only recognize it and work for nothing. Jian Wushuang was mining on one side, while the deity came out of his body on the other. With a trace of thought power, he began to find the location of Nye Yuan. The war is about to start. Nye Yuan is already looking for Gong Miaoi now. That is a faint transformation of the soul. Another soul flag was injected into the mountain. Only the last one is left. Gong Miaoi held his breath, not daring to stop. Even she did not hesitate to use the origin of the 5th-order peak to forcibly mine, and she was able to mine a small hole in an instant, then put the flag in it. Another place. Gong Miaoi followed the guide and looked for. She didn't know that, with a trace of thought power passing by her. At this time, Gong Miaoi was desperate and seemed very panicked. The deity of Jian Wushuang, in the power of mind, saw Gong Miaoi's heart sinking. Although he didn't know what happened, he had a bad feeling in his heart. Forget it. The real spirit is the best. She won't be able to turn over any waves if she doesn't come. Jian Wushuang's eyes flashed a bit of fierceness. This time he was careless. Now that there is some discrepancy with the plan, Gong Miaoya's strange behavior must be related to some people. It may be the law enforcement hall, or it may be the gods. It's hard to say. Jian Wushuang manipulated Nian Li and continued to move forward. He was going to find Nie Yuan, take the other party to find Gong Miaoi to recognize each other. This time directly broke the jar. Here, sooner or later, people from the law enforcement hall will find out, and if they have not rescued Nie Yuan, the gods will be suspicious. He didn't know that the plan this time seemed to be seamless, but it was actually in the hands of the gods. Void, in a gap of silence and darkness. Click! A thunderstorm flashed by, illuminating the gap in the darkness, and light flashed by, and there were tens of thousands of people gathered here quietly. Each is an emperor, and he is also the strongest among emperors. They are all fifth-order emperors. Thousands of fifth-order emperors, the Yuan Lao Palace and the White Tiger Palace, have such a large scale. These gods arranged for the strong here. Now, just waiting for Gong Miaoi to arrange the formation, and then rushed into the mine in one fell swoop. If you fly in slowly from the periphery, I am afraid that you have not seen the mine, yet it will attract the top powerhouse of the Senate and kill them in one fell swoop. This time, the gods gathered all the members of the Celestial Shadow Sect, and there were 5 strongest members alone. There are dozens of people in the 6th Order Peak Emperor. There are also hundreds of emperors at the top level of Tier 6. This force can sweep anywhere except the temple and the Palace of the Elders. The mine is no exception. Even if Lu Hua's deity came in person, he couldn't hold it. Lightning flashed. These people's faces were very pale. They had just accepted a special inheritance. Soul Road, secret method. Soul where? An ancient buzzing sound rang. These people seemed to have received orders, and they took the initiative to dissolve their physical and divine bodies. Go, grab Jian Wushuang. All the others will be killed. Not one left. Yes, mine. Jian Wushuang spared a large circle and finally saw Nie Yuan, and then he didn't pretend to be, and directly transformed into the appearance of the deity. Nie Yuan. Hearing his name, Nie Yuan was stunned because the voice calling his name was familiar, as if he had heard it somewhere. Then he turned his head to look. Jian Wushuang. When he saw Jian Wushuang, he was a little surprised. He didn't expect that the inheritor Wu Zhuo was talking about was Jian Wushuang, who had had several connections with him. Jian Wushuang was just a Taoist at the beginning, and his strength was at best comparable to the 2nd-tier peak emperor. Looking at the breath now, it is stronger than him. Inheritor Okanshu, Kam is really extraordinary. Nie Yuan was shocked. Come with me. Jian Wushuang didn't talk nonsense. He treated each other directly and frankly. I'm afraid that someone will find out after a while. The people guarding this place have not yet discovered it. He still has a chance to breathe. Nie Yuan followed behind him, and the 2 of them did not retain any reservations, and they moved forward at full speed, their figures resembling electric lights. Those who passed by looked at them in surprise. Where is my daughter? Nie Yuan couldn't help being excited. Jian Wushuang didn't turn his head and whispered, Her position is a bit off, but you can see it right away. By the way, I forgot to tell you that her name is Gong Miaoi. Gong Miaoi, Miaoi. Nie Yuan's eyes flushed, and he was about to see his daughter. End of this chapter. Chapter 5548. Just as the 2 were walking towards the location where Gong Miaoi was, a huge soul power quietly descended. This power sword Wushuang is very familiar with it. It is the inheritance of the soul Tao among the 3 kings. He had walked through the soul ladder at the beginning and was familiar with this breath, but why did this breath appear here? Jian Wushuang was very surprised. Shouldn't this breath fall into the turbulence of time and space along with the three kings' court? How could it appear here? Too weird. Huh, huh, huh. Powerful souls began to descend one after another, and the power of the soul road became extremely strong. Jian Wushuang and Nie Yuan also stopped, because a powerful soul appeared in front of them. The soul of the head of the beast, in front of the two of them, began to transform, and on the illusory soul, divine power began to appear. That power was the power of the space firestone. These souls are actually swallowing the power of the space Huamingshan to supplement their own divine and physical bodies. Jian Wushuang was shocked. After that, in a panic, he transmitted a voice to Wu Zhua. It's a god, he did it. Wu Zhua said excitedly, but Jian Wushuang was not so excited, because that soul body is staring at him. It seems that I still have to do something to him. Jian Wushuang immediately drew out the Jueyun sword. Then a hand was placed on Nie Yuan, and a majestic life force was injected into Nie Yuan's body, instantly returning Nie Yuan to his peak state. Jian Wushuang reminded, "Take these things, you will need them later." Then he took out a mustard seed and handed it to Nie Yuan. There were some treasures in it, a complete set of eternal treasures. He was afraid that Nie Yuan would fall, and these treasures could also defend himself. These soul bodies are not simple, and there are people from the law enforcement hall who will do it. At that time, the situation is very chaotic. If you are not careful, the sixth order emperor may fall, let alone Nie Yuan, a fifth order peak emperor. Let's find Miaoyi first. Nie Yuan said anxiously after seeing the change. He was worried about Gong Miaoyi's safety. Hearing what Wu Zhua meant, there would be a big battle here. Now that he found his daughter, he wouldn't let her suffer any more harm. The mother, who didn't protect her at the beginning, today said that she must keep her daughter safe. Jian Wushuang nodded and was about to move on, but the soul body that had not recovered its strength blocked their way. I found Jian Wushuang, after regaining his strength, Su. Before the other party's words were finished, Jian Wushuang's soul body was cut with a single sword. The strength of these soul bodies is very fragile, depending on the strength of the soul. The opponent is at least at the level of a sixth order emperor, but he can't stop him with a sword. At this time, he has the fighting power of a fifth order emperor at most, and there is no defense. Go! Jian Wushuang took Nie Yuan and quickly left, rushing in Gong Miaoyi's direction. The methods of the gods are too mysterious. These soul bodies came in an instant. Not only Jian Wushuang, but Wu Zhua was a little surprised. But this also happened to be in their arms. The powerhouse of the law enforcement hall was originally planning to look for Jian Wushuang, but when he ran into the powerhouse of Shadowzong, he just diverted his attention. The strongest man sitting here, Emperor Lu Hua, one of the three masters of the Senate Palace, had already descended in an instant, and the formation of the space Huamingshan had also begun to descend. If it is purely for Jian Wushuang, this is not necessary. But the current situation has exceeded their imagination. Those soul bodies recovered to their peak in less than 3 breaths of time, and tens of thousands of fifth-order emperors slaughtered wantonly. However, they also have a division of labor. One Zhu Jian is responsible for resisting Emperor Lu Hua, and another Zhu Jian is going to set up a certain formation and pave the way. The final goal of the best is Jian Wushuang. I found him. Follow me. The supremely strong man ordered to go down, and several sixth-order emperors gathered in an instant. The guard in the mine couldn't stop it at all. There are only 3 sixth-order emperors who can only be forced to defend. They did not expect that someone would dare to attack the mine one day, and so many powerful men would come in an instant. The strong guards from the outside and the reinforcements of the law enforcement hall are on their way to attack, and it will take some time to reach this place. Emperor Lu Hua's law body was still blocked by the supremely strong man, and he couldn't take it out at all. You messy ministers and thieves. Emperor Lu Hua was furious. The mine cave that was originally extremely hard had already begun to collapse at this time. His Dharma body will not last long. At this time, the deity is at the headquarters of Yuanyang Old Palace, convening to start. Yuanyang Lake, the base camp of the Yuanlao Palace, is not only the elders but a large number of inheritors, as well as the top powerhouses among the indigenous emperors have received orders, but it is a task for the inheritors. In just one breath, 100,000 troops were mobilized, but it is obviously impossible to send so many people in the past at once, and it can only be sent in batches. It takes time. Emperor Lu Hua could only send his deity first to stabilize the situation. In an instant, the battle rose to the top level in an instant. Emperor Lu Hua's deity shot himself. The entire mine is shaking. But one person is hard to beat with 4 hands, and tens of thousands of emperors and powerful people have long messed up the entire mine. Jian Wushuang took Nie Yuan and struggled to find Gong Miaoya's whereabouts in the chaotic battlefield. The outside world is constantly pouring into the strong, and the battle is very chaotic. The strong on the side of the gods will almost kill everyone without hesitation. Both sides are now looking for Jian Wushuang. And Nie Yuan also had a hard time walking, but fortunately, most of them were the fifth-order emperors, so they were easier to deal with. Don't fight with them. Find Miaoyi first. Nie Yuan roared, bursting out a battle power comparable to that of a sixth-order emperor. His kendo is different from Jian Wushuang's ultimate kendo. It cuts out with a single sword, as if the opponent can't resist at all, or he doesn't know how to stop it. Those fifth-order emperors, as long as they received Nie Yuan's sword shadow, their bodies began to be distorted, and the whole person turned into paper from the three-dimensional walk into a thin piece of paper. Essence leaked from Jian Wu's eyes, and the power of this kendo was very similar to the ultimate way in Gong Miaoya's body. In other words, it is the epitome of Nie Yuan's kendo. This time, he really didn't come in vain. After this crisis, he must study Nie Yuan's origin, which is of great help to his ultimate swordsmanship. Jian Wushuang casually killed several fifth-order emperors who were blocking the way, pulling Nie Yuan aside, and then leaving the core. The two of them turned 7 and 8 and entered a series of narrow caves. There are also some emperors who these people are very weak. Most of them are fourth-order emperors. Going out is a dead end. As long as a fifth order, the emperor can sweep them all. So hiding here is afraid to go out. Jian Wushuang felt Gong Miaoya's breath, and he was nearby without any hesitation and rushed forward with Nie Yuan. Chapter 55-49. At this moment, a weird emperor attached to the stone wall opened his eyes and said with a hoarse voice, "Jian Wushuang is here with me. Come here soon." The reason these people came here was for Jian Wushuang. Killing these people was just to create chaos. After everyone received the news, they all gathered here, and soon 5 sixth-order emperors had arrived. Jian Wushuang, Gong Miaoyi. As soon as the 3 of them met, they were already besieged in the mine. Fortunately, there was only one exit that could only allow one person to enter. They were just blocked. Nie Yuan stared at Gong Miaoyi, staring intently. The 10,000 words that had already been organized in his heart came to his mouth, but he didn't know how to say it, until Gong Miaoyi took the lead and said softly, "Father." Father and daughter embrace each other. Everything goes without saying. Jian Wushuang took a look and wittily blocked the gap, temporarily blocking the opponent's attack. At the same time, the sound transmission is black. Faego hasn't appeared yet. If you rely on these people alone, it is actually very easy to catch him, But this is a mine. There are countless strong men gathered, and the strong men from the Senate Palace are coming in large numbers. Even if he is caught, he may not be able to retreat. Wuzwa was also very anxious, and the transmission replied, I haven't found it yet. Their goal is Fuego, not these ordinary emperors at all. Even if they seize the 3 absolute tops, they will not have much impact. Jian Wushuang, otherwise you pretend to surrender, and go with these people first. I think that Fuego has no plans to come. It's better to go further. Maybe you can see Fuego then. Don't worry, as long as Fuego appears. Lord, true spirit, will definitely end in person, and no one can threaten you by then. Jian Wushuang frowned slightly. Isn't this really nonsense? Let him go one step further. It would really be overwhelming. Moreover, he didn't dare to believe all the true spirits. If the true spirits were so capable, how could he not find a disabled cosmic master in his lair? But now, he had no choice but to do as Wuzwa said. Brother Wuzwa, don't make jokes at this time. Once I go with them, if Master True Spirit can't arrive at that time, you will be fully responsible for all of this. Jian Wushuang said ugly things before, and gave Wu pressure is applied to the left. This is also for myself. Wuzwa gritted his teeth, and then agreed. This time, the 2 of them not only bet on their future, but also their lives. Jian Wushuang was okay. The gods caught him, and they used it at best, and there would be no life threatening. Wuzwa was different. Once the plan failed, the true spirit could not spare him. At that time, maybe he will go to the 2nd prison to suffer. Boom! While talking with Wuzwa, Jian Wushuang's powerful force penetrated directly through his chest, and that force directly hit his divine body through the candle dragon's inner armor. The 50,000 times divine body burst instantly. The origins are trembling. The opponent's strength is definitely the highest existence among the 6th Order emperors. I am afraid that it is not weaker than the Turtle Spirit Island Master of the Earth. This time Jian Wushuang did not destroy the origin. With just one blow, the whole person was bombarded, and he was directly bombarded on the stone wall. Nie Yuan also knew at this time that when he was not in love with his father and daughter, he stood in front of Gong Miaoi at the moment. This made Jian Wushuang very embarrassed. Although there was a conspiracy behind him, at least it was to save the father and daughter. Can you give me some face? Even if the strength is invincible, at least behave. Everyone, I will go with you. Jian Wushuang got out of the stone wall with difficulty. His body was extremely weak, and he was already seriously injured. I saw a scarlet figure at the entrance of the cave, and the whole person was bathed in flames. The breath on his body was extremely terrifying. This person is the ultimate. Jian Wushuang's eyes shrank. I thought it was a 6th Order emperor, but he didn't expect to be an absolute powerhouse. It is estimated that this outstanding person was afraid of killing him in one blow, suppressing his strength when he started. Everyone gathered at the designated place. I have taken Jian Wushuang. Call. Jian Wushuang clutched his chest, panting heavily, then turned his head to look at Gong Miaoi and Nie Yuan, and said, Surrender, we are not opponents. Nie Yuan didn't have any comments on this, because he knew the plan. But Gong Miaoi is different. At this time she took the initiative to step forward, bow down respectfully, and firmly said, Junior Gong Miaoi, Lord God once promised. But the words hadn't been finished yet. The supremely powerful man made a move instantly, and a flame instantly rushed to Gong Miaoi's side. The power of the flame was enough to incinerate the world, extremely terrifying. Even the space firestone is melting. Nie Yuan reacted extremely quickly, and instantly stood in front of Gong Miaoi, blocking the flame. When Gong Miaoi just stood up, he was surprised. This matter is getting more and more complicated. Jian Wushuang's face also sank. He didn't want to believe it at first, but now that the facts are in front of him, he has to believe it. Gong Miaoi betrayed. Although he was using the other party, he really wanted to save Nie Yuan. Even if he was taken away, he would also beg the other party to let them go, even if he was taken away by the people from the Yuan palace. Wu Zua, who knows the plan, will not embarrass the father and daughter. Why bother? Jian Wushuang looked on indifferently, without saying a word. He knows the true spirit too well, and will never stay after using Gong Miaoi. At the beginning, the White King had recovered to the peak, not to mention that he died after he died. Not to mention a Gong Miaoi. If you catch him, Gong Miaoi has no use value. The supreme powerhouse bathed in flames, without any expression, said coldly, "My Lord God, I didn't tell me to take you away. So you are going to die?" The gods only told them to take Jian Wushuang away, kill those who saw it, and destroy Gong Miaoi. This is a disaster and cannot be left behind. If Jian Wushuang is really emotional, I am afraid he will not kill Gong Miaoi, and he can keep Gong Miaoi at that time to threaten Jian Wushuang. But Jian Wushuang and Gong Miaoi used each other, so there is no need to keep it. The absolute strong shot directly without any hesitation. A fiery snake, like lightning, is extremely fast. Gong Miaoi and Nie Yuan are both Tier 5 emperors. Even if they can exert the power of Tier 6 emperors, they can't resist them. Dui Jian Wushuang can stay behind. It is completely unnecessary for these two. Jian Wushuang was aside, still a little unbearable. A sword flew out of his hand and directly stopped the fire snake. "Give me a way to survive." Jian Wushuang said, "This matter has nothing to do with her. I will go with you." Absolutely strong, very surprised, Mingming Palace, Miaoi betrayed Jian Wushuang, and actually even interceded for the other side. She must die. If the didn't order, he could give Jian Wushuang a face, but the named Dao and said that if he wanted to kill Gong Miaoi, he would never keep his hands. Chapter 55-50. The other party was very firm. Jian Wushuang looked at Gong Miaoi and said calmly, "Time is also destiny." Gong Miaoi was very crazy, staring at Jian Wushuang, and said angrily, "Jian Wushuang, you don't pretend to be a good person here. You are a complete demon. You will be careful in your calculations, and you will never become an emperor." These words were shouted from the bottom of her heart, extremely vicious. Never become an emperor. Jian Wushuang's expression also sank. He longed for the emperor and yearned for the road in the future. He dared to curse that he would never become an emperor in his life. If he were someone else, he would have died 10,000 times. Trying to suppress his anger, Jian Wushuang closed his eyes. Destroy it. No one stopped this time. The fiery snake first passed through Nie Yuan and instantly incinerated Nie Yuan's body, leaving only the divine body and origin. No, Gong Miaoi shouted heartbreakingly. Obviously just met. Although Nie Yuan didn't know what happened to Gong Miaoi and Jian Wushuang, he probably guessed that his daughter was taken advantage of. This time, he waited for a long time. Perhaps he should have died long ago. Died in front of the Taoist couple. Shouldn't be struggling here. This time, it was worth dying for my daughter. Nie Yuan slowly turned around. Both the divine body and the source were constantly shattering. He stared at Gong Miaoi calmly and said calmly, "Miaoi, live well. No one can hurt you. No." A huge force erupted from Nie Yuan's body, and the divine body and origin that had been about to be incinerated once again recovered. The divine body has also become golden, and the whole person has turned into a form of law. The tenderness was also lost in his eyes, but with a majesty that overlooked the world. My kendo from the starry sky. Today, with a force of soldiers to dispel the enemy, I beg seniors to give me a sword to break the enemy. Nye Yuan kowtowed with both hands. A golden light broke through time and space, coming from the end of time. This time, the entire Qixin temple was trembling. Starry sky? Jian Wushuang was shocked. There are people who know the starry sky? He didn't expect that Nye Yuan, an indigenous emperor, could actually touch the starry sky. How can that be? Moreover, he said he would break the enemy with a sword. Gong Miaoi didn't have any shock, only eyes full of dismay. That Zhu Jian was very surprised, and found that the other party was not right. So he wanted to do it, but the next moment, the entire Qixin temple was trembling. That golden light descended instantly. Nye Yuan held a golden sword in his hand that exuded the combination of time and space, and the fierce energy in his eyes reached the peak. Only you, I still want to kill my daughter. The golden face, shouted angrily, cut out with a sword, and the mine instantly turned into two pieces. The huge space Huamingshan was split into two pieces. A huge crack appeared instantly, and a ray of light shone in. Outside, it's daytime at this time. Jian Wushuang was taken aback, slowly raising his head to look at the sky. The supremely strong man has quietly fallen. At this time, the flame went out, and the strongest man also leaked his original appearance, and the shock in his eyes was beyond words. Fallen! The golden statue was also under this sword, and began to collapse, turning into a stone statue. Nye Yuan looked at Gong Miaoi for the last time. There was no sharpness in his eyes, only warmth. In fact, there is also a lot of resentment, but he dare not show it. He is afraid that his daughter will be sad because of his fall. Father! Gong Miaoi, 2 lines of tears fell, and rushed forward desperately. Before Nye Yuan's origin had disappeared, he desperately grasped with his hands, trying to keep his father. Now she regrets that she killed her father. If she hadn't listened to the words of the gods would not kill her. All this is to blame her. Jian Wushuang, who was stunned, realized that Nye Yuan's origin hadn't completely disappeared. He shot it instantly, and the vitality in his body burst out, instantly returning to its peak. In the depths of one hand, the power of swallowing exploded in an instant, and a huge amount of life force descended, wrapping Nye Yuan's origin in it, and delaying the crushing of the opponent. Then the force of devouring urged and began to swallow. He had longed for Nye Yuan's origin a long time ago. How could he let it go before his eyes? And after seeing the opponent's sword, he was completely obsessed. The power of that sword is probably beyond the power of the emperor. One sword killed the supreme powerhouse and was able to split the space Huamingshan. This force might have reached the level of the Lord of the Universe. Chi. Gong Miaoi turned his head and looked at Jian Wushuang, who was actually devouring her father's origin, full of resentment, and wanted to fight Jian Wushuang desperately. But where is she, Jian Wushuang's opponent? Jian Wushuang snorted coldly, and the claws of the candle dragon directly grabbed Gong Miaoi's neck and shouted angrily, "If it weren't for you, Nye Yuan wouldn't die. Do you understand?" He almost broke his plan. He must get the origin of Nye Yuan. If Nye Yuan is alive, he will also learn from it. Now that it has fallen, he can't watch it disappear. Starry sky. Jian Wushuang sighed from the bottom of his heart. Don't know, is he counted as a line of stars? Originally, he thought he was the only one who had entered the starry sky, but he did not expect that Nye Yuan's kendo origins were also obtained from the starry sky. The starry sky has a great influence on him. He has mastered the ultimate way in the starry sky, but Nye Yuan seems to have mastered the sword way. Starry sky. Now, he has a doubt in his heart. Even the natives in the Temple of Qixin have been to the starry sky. So is there anyone who has been to the starry sky? And how did they go? Hui Qing? Jian Wushuang first thought of one person. Hui Qing once stepped into Taoism. He always suspected. Later, when he learned that Hui Qing was a reincarnated person, he didn't think much about it. But now, for his moment, I am afraid that Hui Qing also entered the starry sky with his consciousness at that time. After countless years of reincarnation, it has such a powerful strength. If you simply enter the Tao in one step, your personality will not change that much. Even if it is because of the memory of previous lives, it will not be so outrageous. Although Hui Qing in the previous life was also the ultimate one, but the potential was average. For now, it can be said that the potential is average. The current Hui Qing, compared to the previous life, even compared to the entire primitive universe, is the first-class Tianjiao. It has only been a long time now that he has already entered the sixth order emperor. The old guys who have surpassed countless epochs of cultivation are almost catching up with Shang. This potential against the sky is not only due to the past life, maybe it is related to the starry sky. Nie Yuan is the same. It can be deduced from Nie Yuan that he is a native emperor who has not been cultivated for an epoch, but he can reach the point he is today. If there is no inheritor, I am afraid that Nie Yuan's potential is definitely a top-notch talent in the four secret realms. The fifth order peak emperor, comparable to the sixth order emperor's combat power, was born in less than an era. Starry sky. Jian Wushuang has a yearning. The temple of Qishan is a substantial help, but the birth of the starry sky is a yearning for the future, where is the cradle of the strong. Chapter 55, 51. What primitive universe? The long river of time and space. There is not even a master of the universe. It is not the place for them to improve their strength. If the temple of Qishan hadn't appeared, they would not have reached the time and space of Moroa in the ancient times in the long river of time, not even hundreds of millions of epochs. Even if it reaches the level of Moroa's time and space, I am afraid it will fall due to strength. Universe, time and space, starry sky. Jian Wushuang yearned for the stars even more, because of the long river of time and space. His impression was just like that. Although I saw many long rivers of time and space in the starry sky, some rivers of time and space are very powerful. They are the lifeblood of the starry sky, but they are also lines after all. The starry sky is the real carrier. Compared with these, what fuego, what arrogance, what plan is not important. Jian Wushuang cautiously put Nie Yuan's origin into his body, only to breathe a sigh of relief. The biggest receipt this time is not to attract the gods, but to the information about the starry sky. It's a pity that he couldn't find out any news about the starry sky from Nie Yuan's origin, but from the origin road, he could feel a strong sword intent. Unlike his ultimate kendo, Nie Yuan's kendo is more perfect. Maybe it's because Nie Yuan also reached the kendo consummation and he joined together. Maybe because the opponent's kendo came from the stars. Jian Wushuang believed that it was from the stars, and he was still very confident in his kendo. Just relying on guarding against the sky cannot compare with his kendo. At the 8th level of the ultimate kendo, none of the ultimate princes can match him. This is strength. Also emboldened. His ultimate kendo. Every step is a huge opportunity. It's just one step away now. As long as he reaches consummation, he can be in harmony. Once he becomes the emperor, his strength can be quickly improved, and then it will directly rival the top, and even be able to reach the top in a short period of time. Regarding the pinnacle of life force, he has been initially perfected, and he has reached the Hinayana realm. After the kendo is completed, combined with kendo, you can reach the Mahayana realm by creating again. After breaking through, you can directly fight on the secret method. As for the path of space and realm, it is too slow. Before the emperor, he could reach the realm of the black hole, even if it was good. After becoming the emperor, he would be able to improve some perceptions of space, and he didn't improve the realm of space too much. It's impossible to reach the peak by relying on the realm. The evolution of space into the universe is half a step into the master of the universe. At present, the only person who reached the absolute peak of the secret method and realm at the same time was Shang. With so many inheritors, only one has reached this level. In addition to the inheritors, Wuzhua is also at this level. As for those puppet hall masters, I don't know. Jian Wushuang left Gong Niaoyi aside and ignored it. Whether she could survive this time, it was all good luck. Now he wants to take the initiative to go out. The strong from the Senate kept coming, and the people arranged by the gods soon ended. Now he has to beg these people to take him away. Since the gods have arranged in this way, there must be a way out. Outside the cave, a group of emperors surrounded Jian Wushuang, not daring to step forward because the supreme powerhouse who had just entered had fallen, and the Huaming mountain in the space was split in half. No one knows how powerful Jian Wushuang is. Don't be afraid, we are our own. Jian Wushuang took out a token, and the emperors breathed a sigh of relief when they saw it. This token was actually fake. Originally, he also had a real token, but it was a pity that it was destroyed when he fell into the second prison. But it's enough to take out and fool this person. They are here to look for him. Even if they don't have a token, they will take him away. Jian Wushuang, you'd better not play tricks. The Sixth Order Peak Emperor, who took the lead, stared at Jian Wushuang cautiously. Obviously, these people were frightened by the sword just now. Not only these people, but everyone present was frightened. Even Wuzhua kept sending him a voice message asking what happened when he arrived, and he was able to split the space Huaming Shan into two. The true spirit in the Sea of Origin stared at the mung bean eye, holding a string of light green bracelets in his hand, and constantly moved. That power comes from the starry sky. The true spirit was extremely shocked. He originally thought that there would be a generation of anti-heaven among the inheritors related to the starry sky. Now, it seems that the Qixin Temple is not safe. This made his determination to run even stronger. Once Fuego is eliminated, he will speed up the growth of the inheritors, forcibly create a Lord of the Universe, solve the God, understand the cause and effect, and then take the Temple of Qixin to other time and space. Although this time and space has not yet grown, there are too many hidden secrets to stay for long. There were already 2 visitors from the starry sky. Jian Wushuang is one, and Nie Yuan is also the same, and both are practicing swordsmanship. This reminded him of the once Emperor Julian. Will there be some kind of connection among them? Or it would be a coincidence that they are all kendo practitioners, and they are all against the sky. Jian Wushuang didn't talk about it with the great Emperor Julian. One represented the peak of the Taoist, and the other represented the peak of the Emperor. Nie Yuan is something that has something to do with the starry sky. When others look at Nie Yuan, I am afraid they will be a little surprised. An aboriginal emperor can be so strong and has good potential, but from Zenling's point of view, Nie Yuan's strength and potential were average, and only the last sword made him a little uneasy. He clearly saw that sword coming from the end of time, cutting through time and space, and descending into the Temple of Qixin. Qixin Temple is the treasure of time and space. It can't be isolated. Like a thatched house, the golden light will come in as soon as it comes in. The power he couldn't resist. The last time I was looking at Jian Wushuang's timeline, I was stared at by Shinkang's big eyes, but this time it was the golden sword that came from Nie Yuan's summons. There are more and more things that can endanger him, and he feels exhausted. In the human world, Hui Qing is also threatened. What he values most is actually Hui Qing, but in the end it is to raise a tiger. Later I looked at Apei Wushuang, turned out to be a 25 boy. He betrayed him for a while. And then because everything was under control, he ignored it. It was an understanding. But because of the starry sky, Jian Wushuang was kicked out of the successor list. Few people can be seen now, and they are all wandering around the Taoist monarch. They are not the same as Jian Wushuang. Jian Wushuang is about to get together, and those people still have some way to go from getting together. Among the first group of inheritors, the ultimate existence of the light path is like this. The original path has been completed, but the realm and the power of the soul are much different. The true spirit received the three kings' court, analyzed all the soul and path inheritors in it, and dedicated it to the other party for enlightenment. But that was not enough. Each has its flaws. There is no truly perfect inheritor who can free him from any pressure. Chapter 55, 52. Visitors from the stars are naturally very good and strong, just like Jian Wushuang. But the details are not clean. He is also afraid. Fearing that Zuani's prediction came true, Kishendian made wedding dresses for others. Everything about Qishan must be erased from the timeline. How unwilling this is. The true spirit is also a part of the gods, and the temple of the gods is his. Ugh, tired. The plan is perfect. It can be implemented, but it is extremely difficult. Everyone is fighting. Even the real spirit is no exception. Jian Wushuang is now playing with his own life again. Never considered that the gods would kill him. Following those emperors, he went directly into a hidden space. How many people haven't arrived? Asked the supreme powerhouse who had previously fought with Emperor Lu Hua. Elder Shadow too has fallen, and now Qi is still in the mine to break the restriction. Once the restriction is broken, we can leave instantly. Ing Yi turned his head and glanced at Jian Wushuang, very satisfied. This time it went well. They dared to come here, but they didn't want to leave alive. Don't wait, go directly to Kuei, and go straight away as soon as the prohibition is broken. Lu Hua's strength is too strong, and will soon be able to sweep us. Ing Yi's eyes have a trace of worry. The strength of Emperor Lu Hua is indeed well-deserved. That's the absolute pinnacle of bringing the realm of space to the level of the universe. Once the secret method, Mahayana, had the strength of those gods under the command of the Qishan. This time, several gods did not come, and these people were lucky. If the magic sound gods or the monarch in the cloud came, they would be wiped out in an instant. Those are the ultimate emperors, and they are the ultimate emperors who have elevated the space to the level of the universe, and each has its own peak secret method. And they are all secret Mahayana, god generals. Each of them can be compared to the master of the half-step universe. Otherwise, the true spirit won't let the magic sound general, and Yun Zhongjuan go to sit in the old palace. The space hidden in the dark seems to be completely divided from this place, and people from outside can't get in at all. Even Emperor Lu Hua can't find it. Outside world, Emperor Lu Hua frowned and swept away those mysterious emperors. The mysterious jewel, who had just fought with him, had disappeared, although he couldn't find it no matter how he looked for it. Then mobilized the formation and found that Jian Wushuang had also disappeared. Jian Wushuang, all this is best to be fake. Otherwise you will be miserable. Emperor Lu Hua began to regret it. Release Jian Wushuang, but it still has something to do with him. That is indispensable at that time. It's not that the palace lord's position can't be kept. I'm afraid that he will lose his life. Thinking back to the words he had said to Wuzhua, now he had no face to look back, and he could only walk to the end one by one. The entrance of the universe. The prohibition is being worn away. The ban is here. Even the most powerful ones can't break it. If you want to break it, you need special means, and the gods have long been prepared. It is almost impossible to rely on a few absolute tops alone. When this prohibition was created, it was created by the top powerhouses in the defense. Even if the 18 gods gather together, it will not be broken. But the gods have a way. It was Qi who broke the ban. Territory Qiman is the commander. His identity is extremely mysterious. Speaking of which, Jian Wushuang had fought each other before. At the border of Maluo Nation, I also felt the other side's methods. Qi, it is the elder Mo Luo. When it expanded wildly, it was for this day. Once he leaves, Mo Luo has no shelter and will die. Fortunately, he made all preparations, leaving behind a lot of backhands before leaving. Even if it fell this time, there was nothing to worry about. A series of imprints were punched out in his hand, forming a terrifying catalog, which was bloody. It was a totem. The gods told him that once the totem is turned on, everything can be broken, because this is the totem of the giant clan. Giants. The gods are just ordinary members of the giant clan. Fuego and the dome in the origin of everything are both giants, one of the strongest races in the sky. When it was born, it was the highest existence in the universe, and the Mahayana period was able to rule a long river of time and space. In the starry sky, there are just over 100 long rivers of time and space, and there are dozens of powerhouses among the giant gods, and more than half can control a long river of time and space. What a powerful force this is. When the Qishan was at its peak, but only controlled a long river of time and space, and then fell, the giant clan controls dozens of them. Otherwise, one Fuego alone would not be able to destroy the three kings. The various characters that flashed on the totem, each super powerhouse of the giant tribe, the prohibition began to break at this moment. A shout from the starry sky came instantly. It's the starry sky again. Fortunately, it was just a sound, but its power was no weaker than that sword. That sword is pure killing, killing all living beings. This roar was a roar containing all things, directly shattering the prohibition. Prohibition of breaking. Kuei was very excited and quickly transmitted a voice to Ing Yi. Space is here. Go. Everything went smoothly, unexpectedly. Less than a quarter of an hour later, he took down Jian Wushuang, broke the ban, and fled. Light began to glow in the mysterious space. It was a teleportation array. Jian Wushuang stood among these people, looking surprised. The power contained in this teleportation formation was much stronger than the strongest teleportation formation he had seen in the White Tiger Palace. The strongest teleportation array in the temple is cross-border teleportation, but the power contained above is actually not as good as 1/10 of this teleportation array. Where is this to send him to? Jian Wushuang was surprised. Leave the Temple of Qishan? When Lu Hua discovered that power, the teleportation array had been activated, and all the emperors in the mysterious space disappeared. At this time, just a quarter of an hour, the Deputy Hall Master Zhong and Wu Shan came, seeing the devastated mine, and then looking at the lonely palace Master Lu Hua, everything understood. Where is Jian Wushuang? Deputy Hall Master Zhong said anxiously. He always felt that this matter must have something to do with Jian Wushuang. Emperor Lu Hua didn't bother to talk to each other and left here directly. There is no need for him to clean up the mess. This time, the loss is actually not a big one, but the face is ashamed. You reading www.ukanshu. The space Huamingshan was split into two parts, and the prohibition was also broken. As for those who fell, it's nothing. This is just a Qianquan mine, and there are still many mines on the mountain. It's the strong man in the Senate Palace. This time he has also fallen a lot, although most of them are indigenous emperors. There are also some sixth-order emperors who have fallen. The inheritors came last, and only received the tail. Naturally, there was no loss. Gong Miaoyi. Deputy Hall Master Zhong stood at the place where Jian Wushuang and others had fought before, staring at Gong Miaoi on the ground. Jian Wushuang was running fast, not to mention, since Gong Miaoi was left behind. This time it was not a waste of work. Take her away, and her to Yuanyang Lake's prison. I will try it myself.